Close and secure all possible entrances to your home. Switch off all lights. Do not look out of any windows. Do not respond to any knocks on your windows or doors until the all clear is given. Remain silent at all times.
It's like, this dude's too cool for long sentences.
He said the key words. He said,
streaming live around the world, this is Paper Cuts
we call it a poop bag.
with Brad and Jay.
Yeah, it's got a new show.
It came to you, like, basically straight from my brain.
We're not going to have those devil books in here.
We are live.
Holy smokes, as soon as I said that, like I started kicking my desk. So
Is that your dog barking back there, Jay? They're all excited.
that's not mine. No, I don't think it's
Is that
mine.
yours?
We are having a windstorm here in Columbus, by the way. I was
Oh,
just
yeah?
barbecuing. What is today? November 12th?
12th? Yeah.
I was out there grilling up some hamburgers, and it's raining. It's pure dark out, and just winds blowing all over the place. What's going on, everyone? Welcome back to another exciting episode of Paper Cuts. I am Jay. Thanks for joining us over there. That way.
That way.
One of these times I'll get it.
Some way.
Co-host.
Some way. I'm here somewhere.
Yeah, you know him from the very famous YouTube channel, Brad
No.
Proctor. He plays part of the Brad Proctor. Everyone, this
Yeah.
is Brad Proctor. Good evening.
What's going on,
How's it going?
everybody? I'm actually an actor. Brad Proctor's completely fake. He's not even real.
You play one on TV.
Play him
Or
on TV.
The internet, yes.
I'm
I
like
don't-
I'm
I
like like Joey Tribbiani playing Joey Tribbiani.
This went sideways quick. All right. That just shows you like how great the show's going to be tonight. All right, so our guest tonight is an active member of the Horror Writers Association, the writer of Her Infernal Name and Other Nightmares, also People, a horror anthology about love, loss, life, and things to go bump in the night. Numerous short stories you can find all around, like The Hat That You See. He's got a short story of that one. Unburied, a collection of queer dark fiction. He's got a short story in that one. We're talking about all of those. Publisher for Spooky House Press. And this month, he's also appearing on the cover of Cigar Aficionado. I made that last part up, so in case anybody, any kind of lawsuits or anything. Give it up for Robert P, as in people pleaser, Ottone, everybody. Yay.
Thank you. Thank you so much for having me.
Thanks for coming on, man. Jay, you forgot the best part. You didn't announce that he's a Yankees fan. Come on now.
Well,
That tops everything.
No, it doesn't.
Yes, it does.
Go Braves. Who won the World Series? Did the Yankees make playoffs this year?
Jay, how many championships do the Braves have?
Doesn't matter, man.
You need more fingers than just...
we win one every 26 years, okay?
Oh. we're due then if it's one every 26 years.
Do you know I was 17 the last time we won a World Series? Just looking back, just like I think I was in high school. Was that 17 in high school?
I probably wasn't even born then. When did they win? 96? When was it?
95.
95.
Yeah, 95.
I was alive.
Yeah.
I was a wee little toddler then.
Where do you think my old Jay Maddox name came from? Maddox came from Greg
I know.
Maddox.
Greg Maddox.
Oh, that's
Yeah.
cool.
Yeah.
Oh, hi, Nick.
So,
Nicholas
that's where all
Dyack.
that came from.
That's my boy. I love him.
Oh, you know Nicholas Dyack?
I do. Nick is a remarkable academic with the Horror Writers Association and more. And he's just, he and his girlfriend, Michelle Brittany, are just like super sweet people. They're just the best. And they sent me a cute care package that I unboxed on on Instagram the other day. It was the first time I ever did an unboxing. That was from Nick and his lovely lady friend, Michelle. But he's one of the best. He's like one of my favorite people that I've met since I started writing.
And how much did you pay you to say that?
He sent me 3 really good cigars, so
There you go. And he got you that cover on Cigar Aficionado.
I used to have a subscription to Cigar Aficionado.
Really?
And oh, hey, Lewis, what's up, man? I used to have a subscription to it, and after a while, like it just kept piling up, and it's like, when am I gonna like have the time to really dive into these more? You know. So I had to stop it.
So you never really read them, or?
I did, but like I was getting my master's at the time, so like I was student teaching, I was working, and I was going to school, so it was tough to pull off all 3. And read articles about cigars when it's like, how about I just smoke them myself?
There you go.
I mean, the exact same thing happened to me in Cat Fancy magazine, but my wife finally made me get rid of it. So
What magazine? What magazine was that,
Cat
Jay?
Fancy.
Cat Fancy. Okay.
I don't. That's probably that's probably a real magazine. We're gonna get
yeah.
sued like crazy from this show. I think
You got to quit dropping brand names, Jay. You're gonna get us in trouble.
Yeah.
So, Robert, how was your?
I don't get Playboy magazine anymore either. Just
No,
FYI.
I mean they don't have a nudity in them, so what's the point,
They
right?
don't. Okay.
No, they haven't had that for like a couple years, Jay. You're behind.
I know. I'm lost. That's marriage life. I think
You read it for the articles, though, anyway, right? You get it for the
That
articles.
was my excuse when we first
Yeah.
got engaged, but
Mhm.
I noticed that they just stopped coming in the mail. So
Hey,
Yeah.
Stephen
She
King
canceled
had
that
subscription for you.
He had original stuff published in Playboy before it went anywhere else. So
Yeah, I think like some stuff from Night Shift, I think, was in there originally.
yeah.
Yep.
So how was your?
I just saw a meme today that apparently Jack's son in The Shining. Holy crap! Oh my God, what is it, Danny?
Danny.
Danny is reading the same issue of Playgirl that Jack is reading before his interview at the Overlook in Dr. Sleep, as he is in The Shining. I was like,
Oh, yeah.
that's a ridiculous
Little Easter egg.
little thing to throw back to, but all right.
I still need to watch Dr. Sleep. I haven't seen it yet.
Yeah,
Oh,
I haven't
man.
watched it either.
It's
So-
so good.
I wanted to read the book first, but I haven't got around to that either. Have you read the
that's-
book?
That's been my plan for everything, really.
Read the book first.
Yeah, and it never happens.
It's really great. Dr. Sleep is unbelievable. I was on Twitter and we were talking about like, oh, what are our favorite Stephen King movie adaptations that I named like my top 3, and my friend Brendan, who I grew up with, he moved to Texas. He was like, yeah, the fact that you didn't mention Dr. Sleep shows that you don't know anything. So I was like, all right, man, sorry. We used to get
Dr. Sleep was is that a Flanagan movie? Right?
It
What's
is,
that?
yeah.
Okay.
It's Flanagan, yeah.
Yeah.
So he's
He
pretty
did,
hot right now with everything else. So
He also did the one on Netflix, Gerald's Game. He did
Yeah.
that one too.
does the movie Dr. Sleep, does it follow the book of The Shining, or does it follow the movie of The Shining?
Both. It does a nice job of straddling both.
Okay.
Because I know in the trailer he goes to the Overlook, but if it was the book version, you can't since it burned down at the end.
Yeah. It's
Oh.
not burned down in this.
Spoilers for The Shining if you haven't seen The Shining movie
Shoot.
or read
It's
the
only
book.
had 40 years.
Yeah.
Shoot.
But,
that furnace.
They do a really nice job of kind of paying tribute to both. So it's good. It's really good. And I can't remember her name. I think it's Rebecca Ferguson. I think is the villain in Dr.
She's
Sleep.
the Mother
She is-
Hat or whatever she's called.
Yeah, Rose the Hat. She's
Rose the Hat,
terrifying.
that's it.
The fact that she didn't win the Oscar that year is crazy to me. She was just unbelievable.
All right, this edition of Stephen King Adaptation Talk brought to you by Cat Fancy Magazine.
So look, James, he's switching back and forth between us and Nikki. He's cheating on
You
somebody.
traitor. I thought you were. He was with Nikki first, though. We'll give him that.
Probably.
He was with Nikki first. So
Creep show's good.
How was your 8 hours of teaching today, or whatever it is you were talking about?
Dude, it's 10 on Fridays, 10
Okay.
hours. So I do like my normal day teaching, which is 8 hours in the school, and then I teach a 2-hour class for overachievers at at a school. Yeah, like and they're overachieving middle schoolers. I love them. They're great. Like they're good kids, but like, whoa, it's
Oh,
a
you're
lot.
teaching middle school.
I teach high school during my normal time, and then I
Okay.
teach middle school and as like my extra thing that I do.
What is it you teach?
English, ELA.
Okay.
Yeah, and I teach English as a new language also, which I love.
Oh, that's cool.
Nice. Yeah.
Yeah.
So do you like pull out your stories and stuff in your English class and just dissect this
Please,
writer?
book report due next Friday on this, please.
I had oh, Noah's here. Hey. I do so like I've had in the past students bring in my books, and I like it's really cute when they do it. So like they're like, "Hey, Mr. O, look what I got," and I'm like,
Oh gosh.
like my bosses and like our superintendents and stuff, they all know that I write and like what I write and stuff. And so like I'll tell you, it's like a funny thing. So last year at the end, like right before summer, the librarian sent out like a Google slideshow basically being like, "Hey, here's your summer reading list, ha ha ha," and they had like they didn't do a horror section, they did a thriller section.
Yeah.
It's like, ugh. And I wrote, and like none of my stuff was on there. So I wrote back, I was like, not for nothing, but you actually have an author on staff, and here's my book if you want to update the show. But they didn't.
So do you try to teach anything? Like, do you try to pull anything like more, I guess, modern, more up to date in your curriculum at all, or is it just like Shakespeare, Hamlet, that kind of stuff?
I'm trying not to do Shakespeare this year. I have a group of kids that I just don't think will respond to it. My 11th graders would respond really well to it, but my younger kids wouldn't. So like, I'm trying to avoid that as much as possible. I've done in the past, in terms of like more modern horror, I think the most recent stuff that I've done is probably, and I can't believe to say this, but like Bradbury is probably the most recent like modern horror that I've gotten to do. But like, I actually had a book rejected by the superintendent's office that I wanted to teach this summer.
I feel like I saw you talk about that on Twitter fairly recently.
Yeah, I was not happy at all about their decision. And I just decided that I'm just going to do like some lame film theory class.
What book was that? You can tell us. Come on, it's just, we're amongst friends here.
I wanted to teach The Only Good Indians.
Oh, that'd be awesome.
Yeah, and I had put together a bunch of material. I had actually been like working on material for it in secret for like the past 2 months, and I had talked to a couple other authors and stuff, and I was like, "What do you think of this? What do you think if I sort of interpret it this way, or you know, touch on these concepts and theories and stuff?" And I was going to try to get some guest like lecture type stuff going, which schools love. Like they love when you could bring an author in and talk or whatever.
You could probably honestly get Stephen Graham Jones to do that.
What if you would have got Stephen Graham Jones to come in and talk about it? Then they would have accepted it, right?
He does those library events all the time.
He does, and he's amazing. And but my superintendent reaction was basically, it's too traumatic. Doing this would be too traumatic. Noah, you're the sweetest. And because a lot of our students have trauma and stuff like that, so like they didn't go for it. I also wanted to teach Fight Club too as part of that, which I've taught in the past, but that got rejected also. So I was like, all right, film theory it is. That's
like,
well, you could have been like, well, you knocked off my top 2 choices. Here's mine. We're going to talk about it.
Her infernal names
the choice.
I have the way I've taught Fight Club in the past is I've done it through the lens of toxic masculinity and sort of what it is to be a man in society and stuff. And there's this wonderful BBC series on YouTube all about like what is it to be a man in the modern world. And so I sort of use that to kind of build that across my unit for Fight Club and stuff. And I've had so much fun teaching it in the past. I'm sort of surprised that it was rejected this year because it's the same school.
See, this same subject kind of came up when we talked to Mitch Seaborn about, because he's a teacher also. The schools want the kids to read and explore things like that, but then it's like they have such a tight rope on what they will allow you to actually present. And it's like if every school in every class is teaching the same piece of literature, there's not going to be any kind of difference in the world. You're going to read the same Shakespeare, read the same whatever. Yeah. It's just so vanilla, change things up. I'm not saying, pull out Chandler Morrison or anything like that. I'm just saying, but throw something in there.
Something a little fresher. Because I remember in school we did like Beowulf and Dickens and Price Shakespeare. It's just like, for me, it was really stale. Like I could have cared less about reading Great Expectations over my summer break between 8th grade and freshman year. I just didn't. And that sort of ruined reading for me at that age because it made it feel like work. And this is my summer break. I don't want to read this big, thick book that doesn't make any sense to me and I don't care about. And so I didn't read until from like middle school going into high school until a couple of years ago is when I really started getting back into reading.
Yeah, that's good.
I remember reading, like, I want to say 3rd grade or 4th grade. And I remember this is the 80s. I actually read Tom Sawyer and Huckleberry Finn somehow. I don't know how they weren't banned from my age group at that time, but it was there, so I read them. I mean,
Yeah.
now I don't think you'll find those stories anymore.
I have a ninth grade girl who read Tom Sawyer just for fun. She pulled it out of my class library, and then she was like, "What can I read to follow up?"
Usually have Tom Sawyer right here.
Yeah, there you go. Nice. Is that the Barnes and Noble Super Sweet edition?
Probably, yeah. The nice,
I love that.
fancy looking ones.
And so when she finished that, she was like, "I'm going to read Huckleberry Finn now." And I was like, "Listen, you're never going to hear me say that you can't borrow books from my library. Like, borrow whatever you want. Like, I just want you to read." And she loves it. And this is she's a 10th grader, so she's way into it. Nick, Fight Club and American Beauty, pre-9/11 films about the middle-class white dudes filled with ennui who are searching for meaning in their life. Yeah, that would be a way to kind of bring that in. Pairing Fight Club with American Beauty as a movie would be kind of cool. That would be an interesting way to do that.
So are you bringing in your own books for people to use, or is this something that they deny it because they would have to pay for the actual copy?
Oh, no, that's like the weird thing. Like, we've got a ton of dough. Like, my school district has nothing but money. And in fact, like they pay for kids to buy books for themselves. So like we've got the money. I think it's just literally they don't want any pushback from parents and stuff, which is whatever. I get it, but like The Only Good Indians is
amazing.
Yeah, like it's just it's so weird. So I can't remember who I told about this, but like I read The Only Good Indians once, and then I immediately read it again. Like I finished it and went right back and reread it. And I was like, it really hit me, the first time, but it hit me the same way the second time. And then I did that with another book. I read it and then I reread it like right after. And it was like, why am I reading these two books 2 times each? Like it was like a weird occurrence that had happened at the time. I read that, and then I reread John Langan's The Fisherman for like the second and third time. And that wrecked me. Like on the most recent read, like I actually cried like a lot.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Rereading The Fisherman for like the third time, like really hit me emotionally.
I haven't read that one yet. Is that one sort of Lovecraftian, or am I way off base?
No, it's definitely Lovecraftian, weird, super weird fiction. Yeah, it's kind of hard to describe. But like the cool thing about it is it plays with a lot of sort of New York, kind of upstate New York history in a lot of ways. Like the idea of like sinking a town purposely to bring water to the people in the city, and it's really terrifying and beautiful, and it's kind of hard to top for me. Hard to top The Fisherman.
I think I tried to read it a couple years ago and I wasn't in the right mind space for it, so I let it go back, but it is on my list. I'm going to change things up a little bit in 2022, so it is on my list, my short list to get done in 2022. So
Mr. Langan's short fiction is like on another level too. His book Saphira and Other Betrayals was like the one that made me want to start writing horror. And that's like a devastating collection. I read that, and I read Brian Evanson's Song for the Unraveling of the World back to back, and it was like the 1-2 punch that you dream of. It's just like, how are these so good? It's just unbelievable. It's like I could be writing for 100 years and I would never touch how good those two collections are, or their longer fiction. And I said that about The Only Good Indians too. It's like I could literally write every single day for 100 years and I'll never write anything as good as The Only Good Indians. But
that one's sitting on my shelf right next to me. I've not read it yet. I know Brad has because he's a big fan of Stephen Graham films. But again, I'll get to it in 2022.
And it's an interesting thing too. Stephen Graham Jones is he has this one short story that'll rip your heart out. It's so good. It's Father, Son, Holy Rabbit.
Oh yeah.
Oh my God, it's so devastating. You have to read it. It's unbelievable. I think you can find it online for free, maybe. But
because I know he had a few of them for like 99 cents, like I can't remember the names. It's like The Night Bicycle Rider or something like that. And there was another one. I really want to read Mapping the Interior. Sounds really good.
Oh my God, right? That's my next one. I read Night of the Mannequins, and I actually read a short story of his. I can't remember the title of it, but there's Night of the Mannequins, which came out after this short story. and there's some major league connective tissue between the short story that he wrote and Night of the Mannequins, and it's like, holy shit. Like, I read Night of the Mannequins first, and then I read the short story, and my appreciation for Night of the Mannequins went up even more. Yeah, it's really cool.
Because I've heard mixed things about that one.
Oh, about Night of the Mannequins?
Yeah.
I didn't love it the first time I read it, but after reading the short story, I was like, yep, okay, I get it a little bit more now.
I think the criticism I've seen is it wasn't what people were expecting it to be, sort of based off the synopsis and kind of the title of it. But
I think that's
so.
fair.
So it's not mannequins attacking people, or I mean, the title. That's what I would get from it.
That's what I would think too. Yeah. And it's got a great cover. It's got a really nice cover. But yeah, there's a lot of really amazing stuff out there, and it's like I try. It's so funny because like I haven't really been able to read much lately because I've been writing more, and like school is like really hitting it pretty hard because we're gonna go into Thanksgiving break and then holiday break, and then it's like whatever. So like we're hustling right now, but like my reading is taking a bit of a dip, and that kind of sucks. Like I've been able to read some short stories here and there. Mostly I've been reading stuff for like critique groups because I'm in 3 different critique groups. And I've just been like reading a lot of other people's short work, and I've been working on I have a book deal that I got, which is like I'm really excited about, and I've been working on a book as part of that. So I haven't been able to read that much, but I've got like Ronald Malfi's Come With Me, like sitting on my like next to the couch. Yeah. So like I'm like chomping at the bit to get to that because my buddy John, who's an amazing writer, we had breakfast yesterday, and like he told me an idea that he has for a novel, and I was like, why couldn't I have come up with that first? It's so goddamn good. But like he came up with this novel he was telling me about while we were eating breakfast, and I was like, this is not fair. But he really loved Ronald Malfi's Come With Me, and he says it's unbelievable. So like that's like the next one for me.
Yeah, I've seen that one floating around a lot lately too. I think I was in was that in the Nightworms?
Yeah, it was in Nightworms.
Okay.
So your next book you're working on, have you written a novel yet, or is it just mainly novelettes and short stories?
I have one novel that's going to be coming out with I haven't officially announced it yet, so like I'm not going to say who, but like I have a 3-book deal with
that's cool.
Nice.
Small press. Yeah, thank you. Yeah. And
I'm going to guess, is it Silver Shamrock, cuz they do like 3-book deals with everybody?
It's not Silver Shamrock, but I will say that Ken Kane at Silver Shamrock is like the nicest dude. So like he's like a really, really sweet guy. I feel like people don't say enough good things about Silver Shamrock. Like I think Chad Lutsky posted about them the other day on Twitter, and he was like, you guys are amazing. So like that's really nice. I can't spill the beans, Nick. I'm sorry.
He'll get in trouble. Another reason for the show to get sued this episode.
Yeah, I know. Reason number 9. So
So I have a 3-book deal for my young adult cosmic horror trilogy.
That's cool.
The first book's already written. I actually wrote it while I had COVID, so there are some chapters that are trippy.
Cool. That's what I like.
And I'm working on the second one now, and that's about 60 something pages in. So that one's like it's being written now, and then the third one is plotted out.
Nice.
They make Halloween masks that turn kids into bugs.
McKinley said that's where the name actually came from, was from Halloween 3.
Good. Thank God. Halloween 3 is great.
Did people question that? I kind of I figured that's
I think people just is that
that's
where
the only other place I ever heard it before. So yeah.
I think I'm not like I love Halloween 3 so much, but like I've always loved Halloween 3. I'm not trying to be a hipster here, but like I loved Halloween 3 before it was cool to like Halloween 3. So
I remember hating it when I was a kid.
Really?
I got it, or I got it from I got it from the library because I used to go to the library and get the VHS tapes. I was like, Halloween 3, cool. I didn't know it was a new one. It's like, where's?
Yeah, I think that's probably what the stigma came from it, because there's no Myers in it, and you're expecting it after 1 and 2.
I wrote like an outline for a sequel to it like 10 years ago, just for
yeah.
I just and I keep going back to it every once in a while. someone on Twitter, again, I keep mentioning Twitter, but like someone on Twitter put out like, when are they going to do a sequel to Halloween 3? And I was like, well,
there you go.
But,
do it yourself.
I think that was Carpenter's original intention, was to make it an anthology thing where it was Halloween, but it was different all the time. But Myers became so popular, he just had to go back to it.
Yeah,
it would have been so cool too to see like, you know, what could have happened with that. What could have come
what other
out?
things could have come up?
Yeah, like if you know, would Prince of Darkness, could that have been like Halloween 4, Prince of Darkness? Like, could it have been, you know, could that have been one of the anthology pieces, or like, you know, would The Thing be, you know, like,
you could have a spin-off of it or something.
Yeah, why not, right? Like, I don't know, that I always like to think of like the things that could have been, you know, and how interesting that would have been to see actually happen. But yeah, there is one, James. It's a video game, and it's really good.
Does it play off the original one pretty well?
Oh yeah, it's like a direct sequel. It's crazy.
Oh yeah,
yeah. It's and like randomly your people will turn into the Thing while you're patrolling and stuff. It's really scary and intense.
That's cool.
Yeah, it was good. It was like one of the best like Xbox, PlayStation 2 era games.
Oh, so it's older. Okay.
Yeah. I love that like PlayStation 2 is now older.
Yeah.
Like, holy crap. How old are you, Brad?
I'm 30. Hold on. I'm 35, I think. I have to think about it sometimes.
Okay.
So
You're only
I'm not
a couple
that
years younger than me.
Yeah. Because it's like PS5 now, so PS2 is old.
I had every single PS. I started out with one. I started out with Atari 2600. Okay, so
me too.
I had the Sega Genesis. I don't know how we got on video games with this, but yeah. So let's talk about the Horror Writers Association for a second. I never really knew what the qualifications are to get in. How did you get into that? What's it all about? What do you do? Do you get to vote on things? What's it mean that you get to make more money than everybody else now? Or tell us all about it.
It's less money because you have to pay your dues.
You got to pay your dues. Okay, so
yeah,
so it's like a club where when you drink, you have your pinkies up, right?
We do have meetings, or we used to before the COVID. Now we meet online. But like, I wrote a screenplay a bunch of years ago, and I got paid like a nice amount for that from the production company. So when it came time to join the HWA, I was able to get in as an active member right away. Like, you could join at different levels, but like you have to make a certain amount of money from a sale to get in as like an active member. So I was able to get in based on that. But like, once you get in at that level, you're able to vote on the Stoker Awards.
Okay.
And you know, and pretty much anybody I think can nominate something for the Stoker Award.
So you approach them to be into it. They don't approach you. You approach them like after you made the big sell with your screenplay or whatever. So
because I wrote my first collection, and my first collection came out, and like I didn't know like what to expect money wise from that or whatever. So like, I reached out to the head of the HWA New York, James Chambers, who's a Bram Stoker Award winner also. And I reached out and I was like, hey, I'm interested in learning more. And he just kind of showed me the ropes a little bit, and I was able to join. And he runs the local chapter here. Ken Kane runs the Pennsylvania chapter, and I cheat on the New York chapter with the Pennsylvania chapter. I'm hopefully buying a house in Pennsylvania within a year or two, so I'll be straddling membership. Linda Addison does the same thing, by the way. She lives in like Arizona, and she comes to New York meetings. So like, whatever. But like, yeah. So I was able to join, and it's been just incredibly positive since I joined. Like, I met Nick Dyack through the HWA and everything, and that's like a legit friendship. Like, I can't wait, because we haven't met in person, obviously, because of everything. But like, I very much look forward to that. But just, you know, mentorship is a big thing. Like, I was able to get into their mentorship program this year, and my mentor is Michael Nost, who's a Bram Stoker winner, and he's just incredible. He's so supportive. He's such a beautiful soul. He got me in the movie adaptation of his book, so like, that's really cool.
That's cool.
Yeah, that's when because before we were recording, Jay and I were talking about like Ohio and stuff, and I had mentioned how I was in West Virginia, and I drove into Ohio for like 2 seconds because I went across the Silver Bridge, and what's it called? Where's the Mothman, Jay, in West Virginia? Point Cold.
Yeah.
So I went there.
The whole area of Parkersburg and all that. Yeah. Area.
Which is beautiful, by the way. Like, for people who don't know, West Virginia and like that northern part of West Virginia or whatever is like jaw-droppingly beautiful. But so I got to go down there and film a little cameo in the movie that they're making of his book, Return of the Mothman. So that was cool. And then I've just had a lot of really nice opportunities from the HWA since joining. And I've met a lot of really cool people. Like I've got to, Todd Kiesling, I met through the HWA, and like I said, Nick, Tim Meyer. Like these are all people that like I never would have been able to like talk to or meet unless I, was more involved with the HWA. So like I try to do as much as I can. I'd like to mentor it maybe next year for the HWA if they need somebody. Like I'd be happy to do it because like I got a lot out of mine. I wrote a full horror novel during my mentorship. And my mentor is now going through it. He's like serving as my alpha/beta reader for it. And we're going to try to sell it. He's pretty confident that we'll be able to sell it. So I'm into it. But, it's just been really great. And the people that you meet are amazing. Like Linda Addison's like one of the most beautiful souled people I've met in the whole, organization. All the HWA New York people are cool. HWA PA people are cool. Haven't met any. I just haven't met any like negative. Everybody's kind of the way that they look at it is really cool because like all the people that I've met, and Nick and I have talked about this in the past. The rising tide lifts all boats. So like one person's success is another person's success. So that's like a huge part of the HWA. It's like you get a real feeling of like everybody's kind of in it together, as opposed to other organizations where it's kind of a little more cutthroat.
Right.
So if you want to say this is like a recruiting video for the HWA, if you'd like to know more, hit me up on any social media thing, and I'll happily.
Well, it sounds like they're looking at more of like the whole package as a whole instead of just sales. So yeah. I mean, there's different layers and levels and stuff. So now you get to put that HWA next to your name. I mean, that's got to be a good selling point too, right?
Yeah,
a little booster.
I would say so. I should put it in my bio. I don't have it in my bio. I'm a dope that I don't. But
it does say it on the back. It says it on the back of your book.
Oh, does it?
I'm pretty sure it does. Maybe I'm reading that wrong.
I don't even. It's so cool. Yeah, no, that's good. It should. We've got. It's so funny. So like the one critique. 2 critique groups that I'm in, one of them has like 2 people from the HWA in it. And then it's a lot of other sort of writers as well, like science fiction and romance and stuff like that. So it's like a nice mix. But I met, 2 of the people that are in it through the HWA. And then there's like my heavy hitter. No, there's Nick. Then there's like my heavy hitter critique group that's like HWA New York guys. And it's like, they beat the hell out of me every time we have a thing. But I will say this, every story that they critique like heavily, I sell. So they're, batting 1,000 for me.
So it's good. Constructive criticism.
Yeah.
Yo, for sure. Yeah. Yeah, most definitely. And
what do you get to vote on? You said you get to vote on the Bram Stoker Awards. Any other awards you get to vote on too that we don't know about? And what's the process, actually, if you don't mind me asking, as far as voting on Bram Stoker? Do you just get a list ahead of time and just try to read everything you can and make your opinion? Or
Yeah, so when you're a member, you can have your name put on an email list, essentially. And when you're submitting something to the awards, you could send out this email blast and be like, hey, I've got this thing. It's in the running. Or it could be in the running if you want to read it. And this is the category it's eligible for. This is the publisher. This is who wrote it, blah, blah, blah. This is the editor. If you're interested, I'd be happy to send you one. I sent mine out, and I'm very happy to report that my story from the Unburied anthology is on the recommended reading list for the Stoker Awards this year.
Really?
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
For the gods.
What's that? Yeah, for the
For
gods.
the
Yep.
gods. There's right there.
Yeah, I'm really proud of that story. I really love my my lead characters in that one a lot. So very proud.
That's the longest story in the collection, by the way.
Yeah, it is. I'm sorry. I had a lot to get out with that one because I love that little guy. But so yeah, like you get on the list, people request your work if they're interested, and some people are really neat because they're able. Sometimes people will send out hard copies of the books, and sometimes you get a PDF or whatever. I try to get like the hard copies because I prefer hard copies as opposed to PDFs, but I do get PDFs like if that's all that's available. But yeah, like it, and then you get it obviously, and then when the time, you make a recommendation based on whether you enjoyed something and you believe that it should be nominated. Like I've been very lucky, like the stuff that I've taken a look at and been, interested in, I've been moved by in some way. There was one short story that I just got sent. I'm not going to say who from, but she sent me this story and I will never, she wrote about a particular animal that you would never think is a horror type animal. And she wrote about it in such a way, I'll never look at this creature the same way again. And so I was like, this has to get, like, this is a recommendation for me because it's just so
interesting.
Yeah.
Is that a newer story or has that been a while?
Yeah, it's in an anthology that just came out.
Okay. Now I'm going to be hunting for all these animal stories, see what you're talking about.
It's an anthology. It's in the anthology just came out, like a pretty popular one.
I'm not too sure how super popular it is. I don't know, but it's very good. I can tell you her story at the very least is very good. I haven't read the other ones, but her story is excellent.
There's a couple I'm thinking of in my head now, so that's going to bother me all night till I figure something out.
Sorry.
So.
But yeah, so I've already made a bunch of recommendations, and what's the most exciting thing to me is, like, last year, for my money, the best anthology of last year actually won the Stoker Awards, and that was Black Cranes, Tales of Unquiet Women, which was edited by Lee Murray and Ginny Flynn. That is in my mind, like, that's the gold standard of anthologies. It's just every story, and I'm not even kidding here, like every story in that collection is a home run. Every single one. There's not like a weak one.
And that doesn't happen very often with like collections or anthologies.
No. And this one it's unbelievable. So like this year now they have a sort of a follow-up that's a poetry collection. And I don't read a lot of poetry. Like I hate teaching poetry, and I'm not the biggest poetry reader. However, in the past couple of years, I've gotten a little more into it. I could never try writing it. Like Curtis Lawson writes poetry. I could never do that. Like he's just unbelievably talented. That was one of my favorite episodes of your show, by the way, because I love Curtis.
Curtis is cool. I love his collection, Devil's Nights, probably my favorite collection of all time.
That's, for me, that was one of the three best collections of last year, for sure.
Mm-hmm.
Like, for me, it's Langan's collection was, like, number one.
Is that the one with, like, the snake kind of woman on there?
Yeah, Children of the Fang. Yeah,
that's it.
That one was number one. Number two was Curtis's. And then number three was Mike Tyree's Pottersfield Blues.
Okay, that's a cool title.
Yeah, it's so damn good. What was I talking about? Oh, the poetry. So like I'm not super into poetry, but like they have a follow-up this year, and I loved it. Mm-hmm. So check out, Lee Murray's the poetry collection that they have out. I can't remember the name of it right now because I'm the worst person alive. But it's good. But pick up Black Cranes, Tales of Unquiet Women. That's the best anthology of last year, and it won the Stoker. So
I haven't heard of that one yet, so I'll have to mark that one down.
Yeah.
Oh, Brad. Oh man. I like, before you do like a cool video or a review of it, like please, for the love of God, tell me what you think. It's just it's on another level.
It's called Black Cranes, you said?
Yeah.
Okay.
There'll be at least two videos of it next week. We're gonna both get it tonight. We're just like
Have you read any of Sarah Tainlinger's poetry at all?
Yeah, I have.
Okay.
Yeah.
Her writing. The one about H.H. Holmes was like what got me into horror poetry. I was like, I didn't know that's poetry could be that. I was like, that blew me away.
Yeah.
Devil's Dreamland, I think it's called.
Yes. Yep. And if you like her, I very much recommend Linda Addison's poetry as well. Linda's like a fountain of poetry. Like it just pours out of her. and she is just incredible. She's so supportive, so cool. Lee Murray's the same way, man. Like she's like just a lovely person, super cool.
Does she do stuff with Raw Dog a lot?
Linda Addison, yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, man. Oh, see, even Nick is echoing my sentiment about Lee Murray in the chat.
So that collection is with Raw Dog, or is that?
Oh, Black Cranes. I don't think that's with Raw Dog Screaming Press. I'm not too sure who put that out. Actually, I don't remember, but it's so good. Oh, I wish I could read it. Like the mark of how I know like how much I love something is when I say like I wish I could read it again with fresh eyes.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah, like first time through.
Yeah. Someone I know is reading The Fisherman for the first time right now, and I'm like, oh, you lucky bastard.
I will be next year. I got it on my list. So
Jay, I think you're gonna really dig it.
I should do like what are they? What videos are those, Brad? Where was it when they're just record themselves reading something? And
reading sprints.
Yeah,
reading
not reading sprints, but like a video of showing themselves.
Reading vlog.
My God, did I just? It's been a very long 2 weeks, guys. Okay.
It has been.
Yeah.
I feel like this week alone has been like one long day.
I lost words there for a while. Wow.
Thank you, Nick. Omnium Gatherum. That's it. They put out Black Cranes.
I haven't heard of them either. I'll have to check that out.
Yeah, James. Come on, Jay. Come on. What's happening there? Jeez.
But yeah, so again, like that's the most exciting thing. So like last year, Her Infernal Name, my collection, Her Infernal Name, made it to the preliminary ballot for the Stoker Award. So like right before the final nominations, which I was like so happy about. Like holy shit,
right.
Like how often like that alone was huge to me. So like that was a huge win.
Yeah, that's gonna be big. I mean, not as big as winning, but that's gonna be.
Hey, man.
I had to throw it in there. I'm sorry.
Yeah,
that's gonna be big though. That's pretty big to get that far with it. So
everything is big to me. Like every review and everything that happens, every deposit of money from the sale of books is big to me. Like I don't go in expecting anything.
Right.
So like when things happen, it's like the nicest thing to happen. So like being on the preliminary ballot was like that was huge to me, but like having John Langan mention my book in his article about the best of the year, like that made me cry.
Yeah.
What category? What was it? Because I know the first story is novella length, right? And then the rest are short story. So was it a short story collection or was it novella for the ballot?
For the ballot, it was on the short collection, superior achievement in a fiction collection, and but like Langan putting me in his article was huge, and then just recently Ellen Datlow saying my book is in the honorable mentions category for the best horror of the year, volume 13, like that's huge to me. Like all of that really matters to me, and just the opportunities that I've been given, getting to do your guys' show means the world to me. Like
come on, Rob.
Yeah,
but it's true. Like, and I feel like going into things with any other.
I mean, keep it coming, but come on.
But like, no, I mean it because every opportunity to get to talk to people who care about the genre and care about reading in general, like that's a big deal to me. Like that means a lot. And like getting to talk about my silly little stories means a lot. And like talk about, the publishing company and stuff, like it's all awesome. Like it's just really nice. And everything's a win. Like even, a negative review is a win,
Still someone read it to do that negative review.
That's all that matters to me.
Well, but you would hope that they read it.
Hopefully, true. Hopefully they read it and they just didn't one-star it for no reason.
Yeah, I appreciate anybody giving it a chance. Like, thank you. Thank you for trying. Thank you for giving it a go. I don't really worry about like, oh God, I hope everybody likes it, because not everybody's gonna like everything.
That's unrealistic for any creator to or artists to think, I hope everyone likes it, because that's just not feasible.
Yeah. And I'm hoping that, that my young adult book, that's, the first, my lead character is neurodiverse. So I would hope that a kid who has a neurodiverse condition or whatever, I hope that if they read it, they don't feel like they're different in any way, because I want to create a hero for a kid like that.
Yeah.
And so that's all that matters to me. If the thing sells one copy, Nick, you're too sweet, man. You're the best. If it sells one copy, and that one copy is to that kid who feels a little bit better about themselves seeing a neurodiverse character, that's great. That's all I care about.
Are you allowed to say the title of the book yet?
Yeah. It's called The Triangle.
Okay.
Yeah. And like I said, it's the first in a trilogy, and the lead character is named after my niece. So that's the big thing for me. And thankfully everyone's like, oh, she has such a beautiful name. I'm like, thanks, great. We don't have to change it.
Have you is that your first time writing anything? Is it YA or middle grade?
It sort of straddles the line, but it's more YA because it's a little more
adult.
Yeah, it's a little more adult for sure. Thank you. It's not, there's some real, because I mentioned it's sort of cosmic horror. There's some existential stuff in there that I think would not play for a middle grade audience. But might play for, a high school age audience, and maybe a young college audience would be into it. But yeah, it gets real dark at points. It gets ugly at points. Yeah.
That kind of seems like what a lot of writers are doing right now, trying the middle grade and the YA stuff that are normally doing the older stuff. I know, like Joshua Marcella is doing some middle grade. Yeah, he's doing middle grade stuff. Some other ones are trying that level just to see. It's going to be interesting to see how it goes, because you're taking someone that's used to this extreme measure of writing. It's changing directions. It's still got the horror in it, but you're still going to change directions a bit, and you have to tame it down just a little bit, to hit it. Yeah. So it's going to be interesting to see how everyone succeeds with this new genre that they're checking out. So,
and
I feel like,
fun. Oh, I'm sorry, Brad. Oh, I was going to say, it's been fun, sort of stretching the cosmic horror legs for me, because I've dipped my toe in the cosmic horror world with some stories that I've written, but this one's no pun intended, a full dive into, because it takes place on the water. So I say full dive, but it's really playing with the mythos.
You're all in.
Yeah. It's real deep. And it's about, the sort of the standard, young adult things. It's about discovering who you are, and change. It's also a lot about change, because I had to shift the narrative a lot at points, because I was working with another mentor as well, because I was in an MFA program, and I was working with two different mentors, and things emerged during my time with the mentors that I never would have imagined on my first pass through of the book. So going back through it and shifting things a little bit and pushing myself even further. That was kind of the cool part, is having to push myself further with either the cosmic stuff or the darkness. Because I was like, well, it's YA, I don't want to get too scary. And the two mentors were like, oh, no, you have to go, don't pander to the kids. They're a lot smarter than some adult readers. So really give them your all or give them nothing. So
that's what I was going to say. I feel like there's misconceptions about YA, that it's really stripped down and dumbed down, but it's mainly that the characters are young adults.
Right. I know.
Instead of it being, dumbed down for something.
Yeah. Adam Caesar was a Clown in a Cornfield.
Clown in a Cornfield's.
Yeah. A lot of people, kind of ragged on it because it's YA, but it was pretty extreme. It was pretty.
I mean, they're doing drugs and they're cussing and they're killing everybody. So
all pun intended, it was pretty cutthroat.
Yeah.
Because there's a lot of slashing going on. It was just because it was teenagers. That's why it was YA.
Yeah.
Like if it would have been around back in the day, like Robert McCammon's Boy's Life would probably be sort of considered YA because it's about a young boy growing up.
So it would be YA.
Yeah,
also,
yeah.
for sure.
Right.
So that was like another kind of thing that my mentors kind of put in my head. Like Lord of the Flies is read in high schools, but really that's a YA book for sure. But when it came out, it was for adults. So like, you know, we're actually reading Lord of the Flies now, and some of my kids hate it, and some of my kids love it. And I was like, oh, just you wait. So that's one of my favorites to teach, and that's a big influence on this YA thing. Not narratively or anything, but sort of some of the emotional touchstones.
Mm-hmm. So was it a big difference for you writing, I guess, your quote unquote adult stuff and then dipping into YA? Like, do you have to change gears very much, or did it flow pretty well?
I think I had to sort of keep in mind the tradition of YA more than like writing for adults. So when I write like a short story or a novella or whatever for adults, I'm thinking more along like, what would I want to read?
Yeah.
And then when I'm writing YA, I think along the lines of like, what would 15-year-old Rob want to read?
Mm-hmm.
And so I kind of think about.
It depends on if 15-year-old Rob's a good kid or not.
He was terrible. He was a horrible, horrible person.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think along the lines of like, and I also think too, like, what would I want my niece and nephew to eventually read? They don't like scary stuff, my niece and nephew, but my nephew just started writing scary stories.
Really?
Okay.
Yeah, and I think they just turned 9. So he was like, Uncle Bob. He doesn't say that. He doesn't talk like this, but my eternal impression of him is Uncle Wobbit, because he used to say Wobbit instead of Robert.
Yeah.
But he doesn't do that anymore. But he was like, Uncle Wobbit, I wrote a scary story the other day. Do you want to hear it? And I was like, obviously. Come on. Figure it out, dude. So he told me the story the other day, and it was pretty cool. I was like, I love this. You know, I don't want to be like, you know, because I don't have kids or whatever, but I also don't want to be like, everything you do is great. You know, like I want to say like, okay, well, you know what we could do is we could work on this, and you should try this and think about this. And so I was buying them horror books for kids. Like I bought them all of the Scary Stories to Tell in the Dark collections. Like, and I bought them Don't Turn Out the Lights. That's the one that the Jonathan Mayberry edited with the HW.
Oh yeah.
Stuff. My friend Nancy has a story in that collection that's ridiculous, by the way. And R. Lambert. I can't remember the name of her story, but it's really good. It's my favorite. So I bought them that, and my nephew was like, "This is too scary," when I gave it to him. But then he went back, and I guess he read the whole thing cover to cover. So I'm like, all right, sweet. He's getting into spooky stuff now. Love it.
There you go.
Yeah, my youngest daughter is getting into the Goosebumps books now. We're reading them together because I was too old when the Goosebumps books came out originally. So now I'm reading them for the first time with my 8-year-old. So
nice.
it's pretty cool. The ones she's got, but I got them the Scary Stories Tell in the Dark. My oldest, every now and then she's dabbled into trying to write a scary story and talking to me about it, but then it's like she doesn't want my advice. So she's like, I'm going to do it this way, Dad. I'm just going to do this, you know. But
that's awesome.
That's a normal kid thing too.
I know it is.
I'm going to do it my way.
That's right.
Before we get in, I want to talk about Spooky House Press here shortly. But Brad, I got to tell you, Rob actually introduced me to 2 people that I'm connected with. Well, one for you. Because Leah Lindemann is a friend of the show. We interviewed her a while back. That's how it was through Rob's interview he did with Leah on Instagram. I think about a year ago, actually.
Yeah.
And I think that's when I won Leah's book, and we made a connection.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Oh, so heartwarming.
I love Leah so much. And
we're actually buddy reading Betty right now. So
cool.
Tiffany McDaniel Betty, we're buddy reading it right now.
That's
I'm so slow. She's going to lap me because I'm so slow. That thing's just thick too.
Leah's like, I just want to throw this in. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off, but like Leah to me is one of the strongest writers working today. Like her mastery of language is ridiculous.
Yeah. And I read her book.
Of Gold.
Yeah, I could get it. I could get it right. Yeah. The other person, he dropped my name to Rebecca Rowland at Dark Ink, and ever since then, I mean, she's entrusted some of her anthologies for me to review, and that's how I was able to get Unburied, which I loved, by the way. I mean, I normally don't give anthologies or short stories, 5 stars. This was a 5-star read for me. And also the Edgar Allan Poe anthology, the How Did You See? And she actually just sent me the
what's the new
newest
one called?
Generation X.
That's right.
Yeah, that's a cool. That's such a cool idea too for an anthology to do.
How'd you get connected with Rebecca and Dark Ink and get stories in there? Was it like an open call, or you just happened to go for it?
They had an open call for the Half You See, and the story that I wrote, I was like, I think this could fit in pretty well here. It's about like the idea of stuff beneath the surface, kind of like what's on the other side or whatever. And so I sent her the story. She loved it. And when the time came for Unburied, she asked me to contribute to that one, which is the first time I've ever been asked to contribute to anything. So like, I can't thank Rebecca enough. But yeah, that story just came pouring out of me for Unburied.
For Unburied, for the gods.
Yeah. I did a lot of research into that. For those who don't know, like my story in that one for the gods is about a young boy struggling with his sexual identity. And I spoke to a lot of people who had that. Like, I don't know a single person who didn't struggle with their identity at some point, right? So like, I certainly have. I think everybody kind of has at some point. And I talked to a lot of male friends who struggled with it and women friends who struggled with it. And I noticed like a really disturbing commonality between both genders. And I put that into the story. And I wasn't going to because I didn't want to like, put something that's so dark into it.
Right.
But I noticed that was a very real thing that some of these friends of mine had gone through that I didn't know about. Some of them I did, but in talking to them, some of them I didn't. And then there is a component of drag performance in that story as well. And I've always loved drag performance. I've always loved burlesque. I've always loved like the performative aspect of adjusting who you are and presenting yourself in a totally different way. I love that. I love drag shows so much. I would love to do a drag show. I would think I would do pretty good. But I talked to a few performers as well. And these are people that I didn't really know them all that well. But in getting to know them, they opened up and commonality with them as well. Yeah. And not all of them. But I felt more emboldened to put it in there. So I ended up, getting some good reviews from my drag connections. They seem to like the story a lot. And,
it was pretty good. I remember I think I commented in my review that it was pretty well developed. Like it was, for a short story, sometimes, sometimes details are left out in a short story because it's a short story. I think I said something like, this could be even expanded into maybe a short novella at some point. But damn, this whole collection.
Yeah.
My friend Lewis Stevenson's got one in here. Lewis. Lewis Stevenson.
He was here. He was in the chat.
Oh yeah, we're friends. We're like, we're not like that, but we're friends. Yeah. Awesome. Yeah, he's got one in here, and it's just, this whole collection overall, just I thought it was beautiful. So that's cool. So I appreciate you dropping my name to Rebecca, getting that relationship started.
Yeah,
Dark Ink. So that's pretty awesome. And of course, Leah's around. She said she's going to watch this later. She couldn't be here tonight, so she's going to watch it.
She's at a wedding or some lame excuse, is what she said.
I know. We told her to blow it off.
Yeah, really.
She was in the first. She was in the first season, so you would think she would watch us all the time. So
that's a contractual obligation. Once you're on the show, you have to watch all the prior episodes.
That's fine. I've been watching and listening. Well, I listen to the podcast. I feel bad. James asked can I answer his question? I feel bad.
Yeah, go ahead.
He's probably gone, but
oh no, James lives here with us. So
all right, that's good. Do you find yourself having to apologize for using mythos? No, I'm not racist. I don't think Lovecraft would be, I don't think he would harbor those feelings that he had, and supposedly was having a change of heart towards the end of his life. That doesn't make up for the fact that he was clearly racist, but no, I don't feel bad about using the mythos. He's dead, so that's not my problem.
So are those books, are they actually Lovecraft, or is it just more just cosmic horror? Because there's a difference between the two sometimes.
Cosmic horror. Horror. There's some stuff in there that people will be like, that was touched on by, Lovecraft, or it was touched on by Macon or stuff like that. But it's mostly cosmic, I would say.
Okay.
Let's
Lewis is still here saying Leah had a power cut.
Yeah. So tell us a little bit about Spooky House Press. You're the publisher, correct? Or
I am.
Right title? Okay.
I am the
Is this your creation? Where is this coming from? And
Spooky House Press, the name comes from my nephew, who I mentioned earlier.
Nice.
I have I built a long time ago with my mom. I was like 5 years old, 5 years old. We took a dollhouse, we built a dollhouse, and we made it a haunted dollhouse.
Nice.
So we put all my spooky figures on it.
Nice twist.
And it's like an annual tradition to put this thing out. So we put it out when my nephew was like 2. And he was looking at it and he was like, Spooky House? And I was like, whoa, say that again? Like, wait, what did you just say? And he was like, Spooky House. It was just like the funniest, cutest thing ever. So when it came time to make my own like publishing thing, I thought Spooky House Press, because I want to name it after him and have him be a part of it. So like, that's his contribution is the name. But it started out as a way to just kind of like, I want to not just, put my stuff out, but I really what it's supposed to be and what it's becoming now, thankfully. And it's only taken 2 years, I guess, but I want to be able to give other authors an opportunity to get their stuff out there. Oh, my printer just exploded. To get their Jesus Christ. To get their stuff out there. So, like, I've had some authors send me a lot of we're closed to submissions right now, but I got Michael Jess Alexander's collection, Boarded Windows, Dead Leaves, and I just thought that was so good. Like, I had to put that out. So, like, the whole idea is to give other authors an opportunity. So, like, not every small press is going to go for every single person, right? But also at the same time, I don't pay percentages. Like, I don't do the standard percentage rate thing. Like, I buy the stuff outright. So I don't know, like, maybe I'm doing it wrong, because maybe I should be doing a percentage where authors make less, but like, I'd rather just pay you up front and just like not have to worry about giving.
So it's just one transaction. You're buying it right then and there, and you're not worried about what it's doing. Okay.
Exactly. Because I don't want to be bothered with transferring money to you on a monthly basis or whatever the case may be. Like, no, I'd rather just buy your stuff and offer you X, you accept or you don't, and we go from there. Thankfully, the offers that I've made have been accepted, so like, not unhappy with any of the decisions that we've made. And we have a book coming out. We're hoping early December in time for the holidays. We have advanced reader copies out to get some blurbs from people right now, and we're really, really excited about it. It's not a horror thing. It's more of a comedic art book, I guess you would say. Definitely has more in line with Dan Klaus, who's the guy who made Ghost World. Has more in line with that, meets R. Crumb, meets John Waters.
That's a lot of sarcasm.
Yeah. It's
right up my alley then. Yeah,
dude, you're both getting copies. Like, I know maybe you'll be close to submissions or whatever, but like, I gotta see what you guys think of this thing, because it's like, I will just look at it on my phone. Like, I'll pull up a couple pages from it. It's only 50 pages, and each page is fully illustrated, full color, and it just has a little bit of text, and that's it. But it's really the illustrations that knock you out. And The author is Alexis Macaluso. She goes by Alexis_Aquarian on Instagram. And it's called Deeply Personal. And it's about personal ads that she's cultivated over the years, and she's illustrated these personal ads.
Nice. I'm just having flashbacks. I remember when I discovered Crumb when I was young. I was like, this is... I don't know if some of my sarcasm came from that or not.
Yeah. Dude, you're gonna love it then. So we've got that coming
the whole
out.
tongue-in-cheek thing. Yeah, yeah.
But it's like it's so weird and so dark. And the real thing about it too, and this is what made me want to do it more than anything else, it really shines a light on the sweetness of the human condition and sort of like the desperate need to connect that we all kind of have. You think of the idea of somebody putting a personal ad out, that's like putting out a message in a bottle. And that's what this really is about. It's sort of this desperate need for connection that some people really do have. And of course she has some like, oh, I'm selling this weird thing. I'm wanting to get rid of this weird thing. But like some of them are like, hey, I saw you at the beach 40 years ago and I haven't stopped thinking about you since. And they usually say something weird, like we ran away from an alligator together. It's like, wait, what? Like, where did this come from? But then she illustrates it, and it's very touching and sweet, but it's also hysterical. So, like, I was like, yes, I'm in. I want to do this.
So she's the author and the illustrator. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, and she did the cover, too. So she's like a triple threat. Maybe I can get her on your show. I would love to book her for you guys.
Should have brought her tonight. It would have been great.
I know. She's a mom. She's probably busy. But you guys would really get a kick out of her. She's great. You should everybody should follow her on Instagram, Alexis_Aquarian. And we're hoping to have it out early mid-December. And we're trying to do with Spooky House. So like every book that we do is something different, right? So like 2019 we had one book. 2020 we have two books. This year we might have two. We definitely have this one. Just because my wife and I are trying to buy a house and like I'm super busy, so it's kind of hard. And my editor is actually an editor at a publishing company here in New York, so like he moonlights for me, and he like does his normal job. So it's like I don't want to take advantage of him too much, but we kind of have this thing where all we want to do is try new things every time we put something out. Insert it into popular songs. You're so God, Nick, you're killing me. I love it. But like this one, we're going as wide as we can with promoting and trying to get Alexis out there because she just radiates positivity, and she's just like she's one of the funniest people I think I've ever met, and everybody should have her do their thing. Like she's just so damn funny, and she's just such a great person. So like my goal with this particular book is to go wide with it and to go larger than I have with our previous books, just because I think her genius should be on display as much as possible.
What are the other books you put out with Spooky House?
We have Michael Jess Alexander's Boarded Windows, Dead Leaves, which
what did that win an award for?
2 awards.
Okay, for short story collection, right? Or
he won the Indies Today.
Okay, that's what it was.
That's probably the bigger of the two. So yeah, he won an award for that. That's a great collection. That's an unbelievable collection. The only reason I didn't name it as one of my top 3 is because I published it, so it would feel weird.
Kind of biased, yeah.
But he's a staggering talent, and that collection.
So is that one horror or more horror-ish?
Horror. Yeah, that one's horror. And it's a really cool, strange mix of horror.
I really love the title for it.
Oh yeah! Oh dude, I didn't send.
You sent me the audio version of it.
Oh right,
that's what it was. Yeah.
Sweet, yeah. The audio version that we have of that is really great. The guys who did that, Saturn V Sounds, they really knocked that out of the park. They're going to be doing my collection, Her Infernal Name collection as well. We just haven't figured out like the logistics of it yet. Right. But they're going to do mine. But so we have Boarded Windows, Dead Leaves, which is amazing. I'm so proud of that one. We have my book, Her Infernal Name and Other Nightmares, and we have my other book, People, a horror anthology about love, lost life, and things that go bump in the night. So yeah. So we have 1, 2, 3. Those 3 books. Plus we have my novella, my Kindle Vella thing that we put out.
That's I was going to ask about that later on, but was it The Girl on the Floor?
Yeah, The Girl on the Floor. That's Kindle Vella is like the weirdest platform. I really just kind of did that.
I didn't even know what it was. I actually looked it up today on Amazon to see what I was missing, and I saw other episodes or something. I'm not sure. I'm still not sure what it is, but
it's strange. It's like you get tokens, and you buy the chapters of the story with tokens. So like my thing is 5 chapters altogether. The first 3 are free, and then the other 2 you pay tokens for. But I don't have any control over how much you pay for the. I don't get it. But like I can tell you this, like it's making money. I don't know how. But
so is this like Kindle, like part of Amazon Kindle, or is it something completely different?
It's part of Amazon. It's part of Kindle. It's just it's just weird. It's like episodic book reading.
Yeah. I was looking at it and I couldn't figure it out. I was going to bring it up tonight, but
it's really strange. I've talked to other authors about it, and they were like, "Well, how's your thing doing?" And I was like, "My thing's doing fine. I get paid like every other week, and I'm happy with it. I made more money off it, and I'll just be totally honest. Like, I made more money off that story in that format than I have if I had sold it at professional rates to another outlet."
Right. There you go.
Yeah,
you're going to keep making money off of it, I guess.
Yeah, you got to continue to flow with it. So it's,
And what's kind of cool too is like if you were in that opening window of Kindle Vella, Amazon gave you a bonus on top of that. So like every deposit you get, they were giving you a bonus on top of it, which is kind of cool. That's cool. Yeah. Talking hardcover, sign number, and bust. Dude, nothing would make me happier than to do that. I wanted to do something like that with Her Infernal Name. I was talking to a guy that I met on Reddit about doing a grimoire edition of Her Infernal Name, where I was going to do like 10 like leather-bound grimoire spooky editions or whatever. And I was going to do like a charity fundraiser for 3 of them. I was going to keep one for my mom, one for me, and then I was going to sell the other 5. But like the guy just disappeared on Reddit. He just like vanished.
Oh yeah.
So, yeah. But I have another friend who actually does.
Maybe it was a scam.
I think he might have been. You know, he's still posting, which is weird. It's like, I don't know what happened, dude, but
he ghosted you. That's all.
I guess so. I'm not good enough. I don't know.
Yeah.
That sounds like a Weird House Press, the one that did Devil's Night hardcover with illustrations. It's got the, I don't know, you can't see it, the sewn in bookmark and stuff. Yeah. They do so cool. Really nice looking editions of books.
I remember when I was talking to Curtis about that, and I was like, Curtis, I want to pre-order it because it looks so amazing. And Curtis was like, well, it's a little more expensive than my normal books. And I was like, well, how much is it or whatever? And he told me the price. I was like, Curtis, that's not a lot. Like, that's not
a lot. It's like $40-$45, something like that.
It's like nothing. I was like, Curtis, come on, man. Like, you're more than worth that. Like, that's a great, it's such a great collection too. One of the things that I love hearing about that book is how much everybody loves the D20 story.
That's your favorite, right, Brad? Yeah.
Oh,
it's probably my favorite story of all time. Short story of all time.
That one is, I would put that in that collection. I think that's my second favorite. My favorite is the one about the druid at the end fighting the thing in the sewer.
Oh yeah.
That one's probably my favorite, but yeah.
Yeah. The whole collection is amazing.
It's so good. You haven't read it yet, Jay?
No, I have it, the e-copy of it. Just
nice.
I'm so far behind with my TBR. It's not even funny. But dude, no, I'm going to, because he was on the show, so I try to. Everyone's just put on the show. I've been trying to get their stuff in first, So,
did you guys know he's Mensa?
He's what?
He's Mensa. So he's like,
what's that?
He's super duper smart. He's in that like super duper smart.
Oh, is he?
Yeah.
He seems really like his writing. Yeah. You could tell it's like smart writing, if that makes sense.
Oh, and his reading was awesome because he was acting it out. So.
Oh yeah, his reading was great. Trash Fire Stories, I think, is what he read.
He's amazing. Michelle, tell Nick I said hi and I miss you guys.
You do live readings as well, right? I think you've done one recently. You had some pictures. I guess that was recent.
Yeah, I'm very lucky that that I get to do. In October, I got invited to do this thing in Brooklyn, and it was like a live story jam kind of thing. And I got invited back this month too, and I'll probably be going in December as well. So that was a lot of fun. It was cool. Like I brought a bunch of books the first time, sold a bunch, which like I was not expecting because I was just like, I'm here to have a good time, you know. And
Yeah.
then it was actually this past week, depending on when this is, well, it's live now, but
There's like a picture of you. You have like your arms up in one of the pictures. Yeah.
and so like I got to do that. It was this past Tuesday. I literally sold every single book that I brought.
That's awesome.
I was like, this is crazy. So that was really a blessing, and it's a lot of fun. So if anybody's in the tri-state, especially in New York, come down to Brooklyn on I think the next one's like December, whatever mid-December, December 13th or 14th, whatever. I'll probably be I'll definitely be there.
Is this like an underground club or something, or like nightclub, or what is this, like nighttime? Do you have a band behind you, or?
It's like there's this place in Brooklyn. It's called Industry City, and it's like very hip, very trendy kind of spot. And it's like where we do the reading is a distillery for like a ginger liqueur called Barrows and Tents, and it's delicious. First of all, like this is the crazy thing. Like the stuff is actually really yummy. Like you wouldn't think like ginger liqueur, but it's delicious and it goes well and everything. I had an old fashioned on Tuesday night made with it. It was sick. And
nice.
So like we go there and it's outside. So they have like the way it looks is like it looks like a giant warehouse. The building itself is a giant warehouse, but in each section of the warehouse is a different business. It's like the club in the opening scene of Blade. I wish. With the New Order version playing. So like there's these open courtyards in between sections of the building, and where we do the reading or where we tell our stories and stuff is in these open courtyards. And there's a fire going, and it's really awesome. There was I'll tell you this, I'm not going to tell you who it was, but there was a very VIP special guest that was supposed to come in November, and he ended up canceling last minute. They're hoping for December. This is a very big person.
Stephen King. He watches the show.
Oh yeah, we've got him on speed dial.
Yeah.
I don't. You probably can't tell, but that's.
I tag him all the time in my Twitter tweets.
Yeah, you could tell the bonfire, and yeah, it's a pretty cool looking place.
Oh, dude, it's great. It's so much fun, and the people there are beautiful, and everybody's just really chill and really cool, and it's a fun night. It's like I'm at work all day, and then I'm leaving school, and I'm like, God, I gotta drive to Brooklyn now, like.
Yeah.
But then when I get there,
but you get there, it's worth it. So
right,
yeah,
it's totally worth it, and it's so much fun. And the woman who runs it, Sasha Graham, she's a New York Times bestselling author, and she's just wonderful. She's so warm and so sweet, and she's the sort of the MC for the event, and it's a lot of fun. She makes it a lot of fun.
So when you're doing those performances, do you feel more like it's an actual performance instead of you're just kind of monotone reading off the page?
Oh, I love that. Yes, it does feel more performative because it's all coming from me.
Like your pictures, like you're emoting, you look like you're actually like into it and performing instead of just, you're not just holding your book, reading it.
Yeah. And I try with like the reading of the book to like give it some oomph, because there are a few people like Curtis, you mentioned. Curtis is a fabulous reader. Clay McLeod Chapman is incredible reader. And a good friend of mine, James Glenn, he's like chef's kiss.
Piece de resistance.
Yeah, and he's like an actor and a performative and stuff. And Clay has sort of an acting history as well, and he's just incredible. But like for me, when it comes to like doing a reading, so like I know there is a reading component of this evening. There is like a performative aspect to that for me that I try to bring into play because of those guys. They do it so well, so I want to do as well as they do. And but telling a story, and it's all true. Like the fun thing about the stories that I tell in Brooklyn, they're all based in reality and they're all true. Like, yes, I do embellish them quite a bit sometimes, but they are all rooted in actual experiences that I've had. So like the one that I did this past Tuesday, I did on Twitter. I was like, which one should I do? Like, and I gave like a poll or whatever. And the one that won was the one that I thought was going to win, but I wasn't sure. And it just so happened to be a story that I told about how I got a group of friends together on Devil's Night a bunch of years ago. This is maybe like 8 years ago or so. And we went to a bunch of places on Long Island that are haunted, and about a real thing that happened to us while we were doing this.
Yeah.
And it was a creepy occurrence. It was really bizarre, but it was true. So, now I have this other one in December. I'm like, I guess I'll just do the one that almost won.
Second place one.
Yeah, maybe I'll do a poll again. I don't know. But like, that's a lot of fun. But, with the readings and stuff, because I've been doing a lot of those too. Like October was slammed with readings. Last October was even more busy than this October. Because I tried to dial it back a little bit just because like my wife and I just moved and it was like a whole thing. But I try to do different stories at every like reading that I do. So like, I did a reading in this one library earlier in the month. I took one story from that one, carried it to the next one, and built like a whole other group of readings around that as well. And I answered questions from the crowd and stuff. And it's always nice. I love doing readings. I love doing it. Like I know some authors who don't like doing it, but yeah. I think it's fun. I think it's a lot of fun. And I think seeing people react to it is even more fun for me. So I just love it.
There's something cool about hearing the author read their stuff in their own voice. There's just something different about that than you reading it for yourself.
Yeah. I'll never forget. Brad, you saw before, and obviously I always get confused in StreamYard, but
yeah, it's backwards.
Yeah, my Watchmen. I'm a huge Watchmen guy, and I'll never forget hearing Alan Moore, obviously author of Watchmen, read Rorschach's journal and dialogue in the voice that he had in his head for Rorschach. And that changed how I read that character, because I read the comic first, then I heard him read it and I was like, whoa, like this changes everything for me. So hearing his performative version of the character, and then again, like I said, those other three dudes really make me want to try to do the best I can like them.
Yeah.
So, well, speaking of reading, before we get into your reading, let's do you want to do a quick game, kind of get loosened up?
Hell yeah. I've been waiting to do the game all day.
Oh, it's nothing special. We'll probably just do a lightning round, aren't we? Or
I'll do whatever. I'm in it to win it. I love the game portion. One of my students.
I am so unprepared
asked me
again.
One of the questions that you guys have asked in the past today.
Right.
So I was like, I know the answer to that one.
Let me find my clock here.
Hold on. Do you want to do, because you're a big horror movie fan, do you want to do a lightning round or do you want to do horror movie trivia? I'll let you pick.
Can we do both?
We can do both. Yeah. There's no rules here.
Really.
Let me check. Jay, is our budget cover 2 games per episode? Or are we allowed to do that?
It's going to be a stretch, but one episode we have to do without later on. So.
Okay.
Yeah.
The budget's real tight here.
Let's do horror trivia first and then we'll do lightning round.
We're seeing red. So
no, let's do lightning round first. Sorry.
You want to do lightning round first? Okay.
Yeah.
So that's 60 seconds. Let me get the clock here.
I'm so excited.
Hold on.
I love it.
Let me pull up my questions here.
I'm sorry. I'm such a nerd.
I get nervous too. Are you going to get nervous? Because for some reason, people get nervous because, when you're trying to think of your answer really quick, you can't think of it,
Kathy did good because she said like Easter was her favorite holiday. She's like, what? Wait, Easter? Her answer even caught her off guard.
I like Easter too. When she said that, I was like, that's my second favorite one. And so we're SNL version of Celebrity Jeopardy. I have one answer, maybe.
We're gonna do a lightning round, the famous lightning round for paper cuts.
Yeah.
There goes our budget, Jay.
All right. This is 60 seconds, right? Let me know when you're ready.
Go.
Ready? And go.
All right. What would your weapon of choice be in the zombie apocalypse?
An iron, like that woman in Halloween Kills.
Nice. Your celebrity crush.
Nev Campbell.
Favorite horror movie.
The Exorcist.
Your dream vacation spot.
Nowhere. Just staying home, doing nothing.
If you could have one superpower, what would it be?
Flight. I think Flight would be fun.
30
You
seconds.
like dogs or cats?
Cats.
Favorite
Dog.
season?
Fall.
Your most treasured book that you own?
I have a first edition short story collection that has Who Goes There, the story that's the thing.
Nice. Favorite ice cream flavor?
Coffee.
Who is
5 seconds.
what's your favorite TV show of all time?
Hannibal.
That's it.
Favorite-
60 seconds.
We'll do one more. What's your favorite?
I was
what's your favorite
horrible with
movie?
the time tonight too.
What's my favorite scary movie?
Favorite scary movie?
You said horror movie already, didn't you?
You could say
We did
well,
TV show.
Okay.
Rosemary's Baby.
Oh, nice.
Rosemary's Baby and The Exorcist. Both of them. I love them both.
Like, I was
Speaking of
so-
The Exorcist, have you heard the audiobook version where William Peter Blatty reads it himself?
No.
It's amazing.
You know,
I don't know if he
Blatty.
I don't know if he does all of them, but the 40th anniversary edition he did the audiobook for, and he just crushed it.
I think he's the only one I've seen though. So 'cause
Is
I
it,
looked up
he might be
there.
the only version. I don't
Yeah.
know, but
Oh wow!
I did the
All right, I'm downloading that then. But
his version of Reagan in the Exorcist audiobook is so much better than her voice in the movie. Like he's so creepy as reading demonic Reagan
that's awesome.
because he's got that deep kind of gravelly voice, and
Yeah.
it's awesome.
Did I ever tell you my William Peter Blatty story?
You might have told Jay. I don't know if you did it on
No.
No.
the other show.
All right, so like I had his email and phone number for 2 years, and I never
That's cool.
called him. I never called him. Never wrote to him. Then he died.
Kind of intimidating.
Yeah, I was terrified. But like one of my biggest regrets is I should have just
Not-
called him.
Not reaching out.
Yeah.
How'd you get that contact info? Was it just like from a publisher or something, or
A friend of his.
nice?
Yeah, it kills me that I couldn't, ever reach out to him. But
Yeah.
beyond the door.
Kind of,
Oof, sorry, go ahead.
I was say that's kind of like Chad Lutsky had Jack Ketchum's info, and he blurred one of his books, and he sent him another one because he dedicated it to him, and he passed away before he could read it.
Yeah, that sucks, man. I wish a friend of mine, Alp, she tells a funny story about when she met Jack Ketchum, and she says, she's like, "Oh, hi, my name is Alp," and he goes, "Dallas," and she's like, "Oh, you're from there?" And it's like, oh, it's his real name.
His birthday was just the other day too. By the
Yep.
way.
Yeah, yesterday or day before. Yeah,
Lady Gaga's babysitter, Jack Ketchum.
Yeah.
Seriously.
was it really?
Yeah, he was like a very close friend to their families, and she did an interview where they were like, "Oh, what are you reading right now?" And she's like, "I'm reading a book called Red by an author named Jack Ketchum. Everybody should be reading him." And then it was like,
Wow,
his
that's
book.
cool.
I mean, he was already famous, but like that particular book blew up.
So you're saying I should go ahead and stalk Stephen King before it's too late, right? Is that
You
what
need
you're
to babysit your kids, right?
I know.
That's
That's a movie. That's a movie
That's
right
such an
there.
odd connection that William Peter Blatty babysat Lady Gaga. What a weird
Jack Ketchum.
thing.
Jack Ketchum.
Jack Ketchum. I'm sorry. Yeah, that's right.
Because he's in New York. He was a New York guy. So, and she's a Long Island girl. So yeah.
Yeah.
She's amazing.
Weird.
Not that anybody needs to know that Lady Gaga's amazing, but like, she's amazing.
She's pretty talented.
Second greatest halftime show of all time.
What's number one then?
Tom
Prince
Petty.
in the Rain. Prince in the Rain.
Prince in the Rain was good.
Come on.
So do you want to do a reading or do the other game real quick?
How about a reading and then the game? Can we do that?
Okay.
Yeah.
We
I'm
can do that.
sorry.
I suppose since you're making rules for our show.
Am I
go ahead.
pissing you guys off? I'm sorry. I just
Not
don't
at
look
all.
forward to this. This has been the only thing that's been like.
Dude,
getting-
we're not
This is
professional at
the
all, so
most
it's just
laid back, whatever show.
I've just been, dude. It's been so like my whole day, and it's like never the kids. The kids are amazing. Like they're just cool as hell. But it's just a long day, you know. All
Yeah.
right. Let me just see. Like here
So
we
you
go.
reading from A of Z
Yeah,
of Horror,
sorry.
Jace for Jack-o'-lantern?
Yeah, I'm reading A through Z of Horror Jace for Jack-o'-lantern, and my story is A Morning in Sleepy Hollow.
Dun,
This is a story I
dun.
wrote. I started in my head when I was in high school, and it's just kind of been with me my whole life. Constable Hayward knelt beside the road near the church bridge, staring at the remains of a pumpkin. Snow was falling lightly, tiny flakes, and Hayward knew that he didn't have much time before the entire area was blanketed with fresh powder. The Dutch burial ground sat nearby, snow beginning to pile atop the headstones. Hayward looked toward the small cemetery, trying to spot jagged pieces of orange amongst the white. Hayward furrowed his brow and started gathering some of the pieces of the gourd, eventually finding a piece with a triangle cut out. "Think it was him?" the constable's son, Aronk, asked, shivering in the cold. The 18-year-old rubbed his chest through his heavy coat. "Think it was the horseman?" "Don't know. Keep your eyes open." He stared at the hole a moment, trying to imagine what it was, then he heard a distressed neigh of a horse. He nodded toward where the neighing was coming from. "Go check it out." Aronk climbed down the embankment and found an old gray horse, underfed and nervously kicking at the rocks along the river. "I think this is Gunpowder, the nag that belongs to the new schoolmaster, Ichabod Crane." Hayward steadied himself as he joined Aronk on the embankment. His heavy frame wobbled unsteadily in the snowy mud, slowed from years of either fighting whatever war called upon the men of New York or from serving as the only lawman in a busy town. Before becoming constable, Hayward had been a successful tracker and hunter from Setauket, who worked primarily as a spy during the war, gathering intelligence on British troop maneuvers in New York City. Afterward, he arrived in Sleepy Hollow and found himself in love with Aronk's mother of the local Waquesik tribe. When her people migrated further west, she stayed behind with Hayward and their child. After brokering many deals with the tribal elders who remained after the war, the town squire asked him to remain in Sleepy Hollow as a lawman. "That old horse has seen better days, eh, Papa?" Aronk called from the bridge, studying the tracks in the mud. "Looks like a weak rear hoof." "Good catch," Hayward smiled. Aronk was becoming a good tracker, too, still so young, and he looked so much like his mother. "For certain, my boy." When the Bleecker girl disappeared years back, it was Aronk who found her, half buried in the snow with a broken ankle. His son spoke of whispers in the wind that drew him to the injured child, whispers Hayward knew his wife heard in her youth, her days spent with the tribe in the forests of the valley. "It looks burned on the inside, look." Hayward showed a few scorched pieces of pumpkin to his son. The insides, the flesh of the gourd, were singed, as though detonated from within. "A jack-o'-lantern," Aronk said, studying the pieces. He ran his finger along the inside of a larger chunk of pumpkin, scraping some of the singed blackness away with his nail. "Like what we used to carve with Mother." Hayward wondered how Aronk's life would turn out, a child of two worlds, never comfortable in either his mother's tradition or the tradition of the white man. "Think it was a land dispute?" Aronk asked. "Maybe the schoolmaster had his eyes set on more than Squire Van Tassel's daughter." "You think they ran him out of town? Whoever he was doing business with?" Aronk shrugged. "Wouldn't be the first time, right? These white men and their petty squabbles. We need to find Brom Bones. Think you can get word to his little sidekick? Fred Dutcher? Sure. Meet you at the hall in an hour." Aronk climbed on his horse and took off toward Sleepy Hollow. Hayward thought often about his son leaving town. The boy had expressed his desire to do so, to join his people who migrated west, to fully immerse himself in the old ways. Hayward pressed the heartache of his son leaving deep down and focused on the job. Hayward began to escort Gunpowder back up the hill to the bridge, careful to lead the horse slowly so as not to rattle the poor nag's nerves any further. I'm just going to jump ahead just a teeny tiny bit, if you don't mind. Now, Aronk and his father, Constable Hayward, had just questioned Brom Bones, who, if you remember from Sleepy Hollow, is kind of the primary antagonist until we meet the Heaven's Horseman. And there was an altercation between Aronk and Brom Bones because Brom Bones called his son a half-breed, and Aronk slapped him in the face. So now we're outside. The inquest is over. Outside the meeting hall, Aronk stood watching folks mill about the town. He had slipped his fingers into a small leather pouch and pulled out a thin cigar. Lighting it slowly, he breathed in the aroma, a blend of spice, fruit, and even a hint of leather. His father exited the hall and stood beside him. "Got one of those for me, boy?" Aronk again reached into his pouch and handed a cigar to his father. Hayward stared at his son. His long black hair caught a bit of wind and blew as though it had a life of its own. "Something troubles you. Speak freely, boy." "It wasn't Brom. It wasn't anyone in his gang. Brom's a good rider, but riding a horse and carrying a flaming pumpkin?" Aronk trailed off, lost in thought. "What are you thinking?" "You know what I'm thinking, Pa. When you eliminate the possible, the likely, the rational, what remains? Hayward nodded. The impossible. Crane was angry. He wanted Katrina's hand. Should have had the brains to leave when he could. The folly of youth. Ready to take on the world, right, boy? Maybe. I'm just saying. The schoolmaster loved Miss Katrina. The pumpkins, the horse. He couldn't have gone far on foot, Pa. People disappear sometimes. Something takes people. White men are sloppy. They leave clues. You taught me that. Aronk, nobody's seen the horseman in years. Because nobody's stupid enough to disrupt the way things are here in the Hollow. We go, day to day, working, playing, drinking, fighting. We never leave, unless taken by grim death. The last schoolmaster, Palmer, you know he disappeared too. He ran off. He was crazed. Was he? My conversations with him were usually pretty sane, Father. Aronk took a long drag off his cigar. Hayward knew the boy wasn't wrong. The similarities between Crane and Palmer's cases were striking, but in the case of Palmer, they never found any indication that he tried to leave. No horse, no broken gourds, no report of him missing. Just one day, the schoolhouse was left with an open door swaying in the fall wind. What do we do, my boy? Aronk finished his cigar. He flicked it into the mud. I have an idea. I might know something. Let me jump ahead a little bit. I'm sorry. Jumping ahead a little bit again. Okay. So now Aronk and his dad have recruited Brom Bones and his little sidekick Fred Dutcher to help them in an effort to trap and eliminate the Headless Horseman after they've thought about, the idea of the illusion that they could possibly stop him down by the water. If you know the tale of the Legend of Sleepy Hollow,
right,
you know that tricking the Headless Horseman across the bridge is the only way to stop him, really. So after a quick stop at the pub to recruit a pair of extra hands, Hayward and Aronk made for the bridge nearest the church. Brom and Aronk stood on the western bank of the bridge, not far from where Hayward and the boy had found gunpowder earlier that day. The temperature dropped, and Brom sipped from a large bottle of brandy. I'm sorry about your chin, Aronk said, one hand on his musket, the other resting against a tree in the midst of shedding its leaves for the season. It's my jaw, but thank you. Wasn't right what I said, you being a half-breed, I mean. Aronk nodded. Thank you for helping us tonight. You and Dutcher. Truth be told, Dutcher's a lousy shot with a musket, so if anything does happen and that galloping nightmare appears, he's liable to shoot one of us. Aronk chuckled. Brom handed him the bottle of brandy, and the boy took a sip. Hours later, the temperature seemed to dip below freezing, and Fred Dutcher sat beside Hayward in a large elderberry bush on the opposite side of the bridge. A great dampness hung in the air, and the constable was chilled to the bone. Explain to me again why we can't light no fire, Constable. I don't know why my Fred Dutcher, a guy from upstate New York, sounds like he's from Brooklyn, but he does. Hayward rolled his eyes. Because we're trying not to be seen. That's why the horses are tied to the river and why we're up here. Dutcher nodded. Seems stupid to me. Hayward chuckled. I imagine a great many things do. A light padding in the distance caught Hayward's attention. I saw him once, The horseman? Did you now? Hayward only half listened as Dutcher began his story. Me and Brom, we go a ways back. We were walking in the mountains, in the Dunderbergs. Hayward kept his focus on the light noise he heard. He glanced across the river and prayed his son could hear it too. For a moment, he thought he heard a horse neigh, far off in the blackness of night. Never thought much for those old stories of ghosts and goblins in the mountains, Seems silly to me. The constable unslung his musket from his shoulder and leaned forward on his knee. He blocked out Dutcher's voice and focused instead on the rising sound of hooves in the distance. Again, he glanced across the river, desperate for a glimpse of his son. Please, Aronk, tell me you can hear it. But then once we made it to the top of the Dunderbergs, we saw him, down below, near the river. Hayward looked down the road toward Sleepy Hollow. The sound was growing ever nearer, and he knew that soon whatever it was would be on top of him and Dutcher. Hayward checked his musket, taking his time to ensure that there was a round loaded. He didn't know if he'd be able to get off another shot, so he checked his pistol too. He even checked Dutcher's, who seemed lost in his own tale. Down by the river, his head was all fire. Hellfire, some say. I don't know much about that. The steps grew louder, driving closer and closer. Hayward knew that soon whatever it was would be within range of a shot. He watched the road headed east as it dropped off in a great ridge framed by enormous trees. Dutcher's story began to slow. The sound of the approaching horse was too loud to ignore. A distant guttural neigh alerted both of them, and slowly Hayward rose, peering just above the bush, watching the horizon of the road. A faint orange glow flickered east. Hellfire, Dutcher whispered in the dark, his lips quivering more from fright than the cold air. The horses neighed softly, lifting their heads and snorting. All sound escaped the area surrounding the bridge. Hayward looked toward the graveyard, half expecting to see the spirits of spectral nightmares emerging from the ground, but there was nothing. Hayward had fought in the war. He had seen bloodshed firsthand countless times. He tightened his grip on the saber hanging from his hip. Yet now, in this moment, hiding in a bush with a moron, Hayward knew the true meaning of fear. He watched it break over the horizon, galloping hard on a black steed in the night. Hayward produced a spyglass, a remnant of his days with the Culper spy ring during the war, and peered through. The headless horseman, in all his nightmarish glory. The specter was massive, far larger than any of the descriptions Hayward had ever heard throughout the years. Even without a head, it towered over himself and Dutcher, maybe even Brom, who was the tallest of their meager group. The horse's steed, under normal circumstances, one might find a creature like this rotting in a field, but instead it stood, muscles and rib cage visible in sections, half of its skull steaming in the damp, cool night. Strings of sinew clung to the horse's exposed ribs, dangling, wet-looking in the moonlight. My God, Hayward muttered under his breath as he clutched his musket tighter. Go to the horses, Dutcher, see to them. The horses, meanwhile, had begun to neigh, disturbed by the presence of the horseman, even at such a distance. The horseman sat in his saddle. If he had a head, Hayward might have imagined him watching the bush. He simply sat motionless, his horse breathing heavy in the night, casting steam from the exposed portions of skull in the cold. I think I'll stop there.
Dun, dun, dun. Sorry.
Nice. I always loved the Legend of Sleepy Hollow growing up. That was such a cool story.
Yeah, dude, it's my favorite. I got to teach it this year for the first time, so that was a lot of fun.
So what's
cool.
the concept of this series? Are you going to do 26 books for this series, and each one's a different letter, or what's the deal here with this?
Yeah, this one's published by Red Cape Publishing. Right. So they're doing I forget what K is. I can't remember what K is, but they've done everything so far, and they're really easy to work with. They're super sweet. They're out of the UK.
Nice.
But they're a lot of fun. They really like that story, so I was like, heck yeah, take it. But yeah, it's I love the Legend of Sleepy Hollow so much. It's literally my favorite ghost story. I go to Sleepy Hollow every year, or I try to. I didn't go this year, obviously, with everything going on.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't go last year either. But I love it. I love that story so much. I love that area so much. My dad's family is actually from that area originally.
Yeah.
So I just feel very tied to it.
Yeah.
Spiritually. And I never get enough of it. I could never get enough of Sleepy Hollow. I've been to all of the places that original story takes place. I've walked in those hills. I've walked through the town. I've been to where the old Dutch burial ground and all that. Like I just love it so much. It's like very much a part of who I am.
So is it built up like kind of touristy, like kind of Salem is, or is it not really that much?
It probably not as much as Salem, but it is very touristy. Like the town does really well at Halloween. It's a really nice area to begin with. So like being there year round is amazing. It's also super expensive to live there. It's like,
sounds like it. Yeah.
Yeah. It's like one of the nicest, richest areas in New York. So they're not really hurting for money, but they really go all out. Like there's traveling storytellers that go around town and they tell different ghost stories of the era and different
That's
things
cool.
from Washington Irving and stuff. It's so amazing. If you ever have an opportunity to make it to Sleepy Hollow at Halloween time, buy your tickets in August for all the different things, and then make the trip of it. It's really fabulous.
That's cool.
Yeah. It's like they have an off season.
Yeah, I wish they you can go to Washington Irving's house, which is called Sunnyside. It's right on the Hudson River. And you really learn a lot of interesting things. He spent a lot of time in Europe, and he brought over a lot of those innovations to his home here. And he was like one of the first real American celebrities. And people would they would be on tours, and they would just come to Washington Irving's house. And he would just he'd go outside with a bottle of wine and some glasses, and his nieces would be with him. And they would just have a party. Like they would make, it would just be like impromptu. really cool kind of really interesting kind of guy, and he was good friends with Charles Dickens until Charles Dickens started talking trash about the United States, and then Washington Irving was like, he's dead to me. So that's
classic trash talking.
Yeah, right.
Nostalgic.
I'm a member of the Washington Irving Historical Society, so like
that's cool.
Yeah, he really matters to me. Like Washington Irving really matters a lot to me. So I'm gonna try to, if they're all open next year and stuff, I'd like to try to reach out to them and be like, hey, maybe I could read my Sleepy Hollow story in your cool thing, They do a nice job, and it's a beautiful place, and it's a beautiful story. Rip Van Winkle is another one of his stories. So yeah.
That'd be cool if you could do it during Halloween. I'll get dressed up and walk around town and tell your story. That'd be sweet.
Dude, I would do that for free. Like I would love to do it.
Then you can buy my book.
Yeah, right?
Yeah, have your trench coat on, open it, you have all the sleeves of your books in there.
There was one guy, he's a professional storyteller, and I think he's a college professor or whatever, like normally, but he does professional storytelling there. And I bought his books. He had, a short story collection, and he had edited an anthology, and it's great. Super nice dude. But yeah, it's just a cool atmosphere. Good places to eat. Just a fun place.
I say we wrap it up with some little horror
movie trivia.
Yeah.
Robert, he's an aficionado, so he probably knows all the answers to these. But
am I going against? Do I know the answers? Am I going against him, or are we doing that? Or
you can go against him. You'll lose, but you can go against him.
Yeah, even if I made the question,
it's always funny when you go against the guest because you just lose all the time.
Yeah.
Wow. You beat Leah.
Well, he cheated.
Okay, that was a
cheated
joke.
with
Yeah,
that one.
Because, what was that? That was like Canadian history or something like that. And
it was Canadian history, and you had all
like I knew all the answers, and I had them all written down. So
that's awesome.
Okay,
all right, we'll play some movie trivia.
Sweet.
Over budget.
Budget's gone.
We're in the red. Yeah.
I'm sorry.
All right. And these are just off the internet, so if the answers are wrong, it's not my fault.
Wait, were these from the ones? Yeah, were these ones I got for a Halloween special?
No, they're not, because I can actually read these without dying laughing.
Oh, that was a bad episode. Whew.
No, that was hilarious. All right. First up, how many times does Count Orlok blink through the entirety of Nosferatu?
0.
It says he blinks one time.
Oh.
Like I said, this is up the internet. He might be wrong. I don't know. It is creepy if he only blinks once.
My mentor, Michael Noss, is writing a book about Count Orlok. So
I love the shadow with his fingers. I love that.
Oh my God, yeah.
Who did Wes Craven originally want to play the lead role as Freddy Krueger?
Oh, he originally wanted David Warner.
Nice. See, I never would have got that in a million years.
There's makeup tests.
I was gonna say like Jack Nicholson or something.
Can you imagine?
That'd be creepy. This one's kind of a funny question because it's an obvious answer. What on-screen adaptation fell flat according to Stephen King?
The Shining.
I know that one.
The Shining. I think it's funny. He hates that movie so much.
I got to see him talk trash about it live.
I think it's funny. He puts that in his books. Like the characters are watching the Shining movie and they don't even like it.
Yeah. I think he liked the made-for-TV miniseries with the guy from
I think,
yeah.
But I think he wrote that one and produced it.
Did he have part to do with that? Yeah.
Yeah.
When I stayed at the Shining Hotel in Colorado, they had pictures from that one because they actually filmed it there.
Okay.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. The same hotel as in Dumb and Dumber.
Oh really?
Really? You're just dropping the movie knowledge tonight.
We're not worthy. We're not.
So, how many years did it take to get the movie Aliens made?
6? Was it 6 years? Because wasn't Alien
Close.
80?
7. So you're close.
I knew that.
Are you guys alien or aliens guys? Because I'm an alien guy. I like aliens a lot.
I like Alien. I like the
I don't
original.
remember much from Aliens, so I have to rewatch it again just to remember.
Interesting.
But, yeah.
Okay. I'm just
The
curious.
chest burster scene. That's Alien, right?
Yeah.
That's the better one.
Yeah.
In my humble opinion, which doesn't really matter.
They're both good, but they're both different
Spaceballs.
movies, right? Oh, Spaceballs.
What 3 horror films did the serial killer Ed Gein inspire? Can you name all 3?
Psycho, the Texas Chainsaw Massacre, and Silence of the Lambs.
Correct.
That was in our special Halloween episode.
I
forgot them. I forgot them.
You were slap happy, and it was hilarious.
I love that episode. That was great.
Which well-known horror film is recognized as one of the most profitable films of all time?
I know this one.
Well-known horror film, most profitable of all time. Paranormal Activity?
Yep.
Let's go.
Nice. This one's pretty easy. Unstated in the movie, what is the name of the demon that possesses Reagan in The Exorcist?
Pazuzu.
Pazuzu. He says that in the audiobook. Pazuzu. His voice kills me.
I cannot wait to listen to this.
Which popular horror film was inspired by real-life events that took place in Gainesville, Florida in the early 90s?
Scream.
The
Gainesville Ripper.
How long did it take to film the Blair Witch Project? How many days?
Ooh, I don't think I know this one. 30-something? 38 days?
8 days.
Get out of here.
That's what it says, 8 days.
Just to film it, right? Just to
Wow.
film it.
I've really grown to really love the Blair Witch Project. I hated it when I was younger.
I need to rewatch it.
I have not seen it since probably when it came out.
Yeah, I haven't seen it since then.
You guys got to rewatch it, man. It's so the dread in that movie is ridiculous.
If I could have a better appreciation for it now.
Oh, dude, yeah. Especially knowing how creepy, as adults, even how creepy the woods are. Oh God.
I love that when that came out, everyone thought it was real. It was like a documentary film. No one thought it was just they were actors or whatever.
Right.
Because it was terrifying when it first came out. And
you can't even you could never do that again. Paranormal Activity was the closest thing to oh, this is real.
Yeah.
There's
so many found footage things now. It doesn't have the same
effect
as it did originally like that.
I remember seeing the Poughkeepsie tapes for the first time. I saw that at the Tribeca Film Festival, and I got to meet the directors and stuff. That was cool. But I remember thinking, wow, this could pull it off. This could pull off possibly being real. And then there's that part where the girl lifts her hand and it's missing. And it's really bad CGI. And I was like, damn it, they could have stuck the landing. They've only gone practical.
CGI, I love practical effects so much.
Same.
The Thing is the best practical effects horror film of all time. Whether you love the movie as a whole, you can't neglect how great the practical effects are in that.
It kills me that the guy who made that prequel, all those years later, wanted to go practical all the way, and Universal
they wouldn't let him because it's cheaper. It's cheaper to do CGI than it is practical.
Yeah.
Which would you think it'd be the other way around? You think CGI would be more expensive than having some rubber and fake blood and stuff? But I guess there's
more expensive.
There's more of a craft to it and I'm sure not as many people have that talent to do prosthetics and stuff as. Not saying that CGI is easy to do, but there's probably a lot more people that can do that than the prosthetic, Tom Savini and everybody.
Yeah, and when you see good practical effects now, it really knocks your socks off too. Because there's I'm trying to think of the
guy that does the Walking Dead stuff. I can't think of his name.
Greg Nicotero.
Yeah, he does pretty good stuff.
Yeah, and I actually really and maybe I'm wrong because I know a lot of this was CGI or whatever, but in the Scary Stories to Tell in the Dark, they do the Scarecrow character or whatever, and that's practical. That looks fantastic.
Yeah, didn't Del Toro? Did Del Toro do that?
He produced it. Yeah.
I feel like if he's involved, it's probably practical as much of it as it could be.
And that movie was so much better than I thought it was going to be too.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just I went into it not very high expectations. I was like, wow, this is pretty cool, actually. So
yeah,
I haven't seen it yet. I've heard mixed things, but it looked pretty cool.
I think you'll like it, Brad. It's a lot of fun, and it's it's dark in all the right ways. Like it's darker than you think it's going to be.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
I think that's why I liked it, because I went into it thinking there's gonna be kiddish, you know, and it really isn't. So
yeah,
whatever the big blob woman is or whatever she is, she looks amazing.
Yeah,
she's just like in that hallway.
And I think in the hands of like a lesser producer or a lesser director or filmmaker or whatever, that would have been so cheesy. Her in the hallway, but instead they're a little more restrained with it, and I think they really pulled it off. My wife doesn't like it, but I love it. So, you know,
I'll ask you a couple more questions for the horror trivia.
Heck yeah.
Which horror film actress slept in bloody clothes for 3 days to nail the look of a gory scene?
Oh, Sissy Spacek from Carrie?
Yeah. That had to be awful, sleeping in like that.
That's like Daniel Day-Lewis not showering during The Crucible.
This is probably a pretty easy one. How many people involved in the production of The Exorcist died during production? So that's a big urban legend one.
Yeah. It's either 2 or 3. I think it's 2.
It says 9 people.
9. That was in that special too, and I forgot. I forgot. I have bad memory.
I think it's like a lot of background people too, like
Wow.
assistant cameraman. That's kind of 9 people.
Jesus.
And I think are they making they're remaking or they're making a prequel or something like that. And the mom is coming back to play the actress is coming back to play the character again. When she fell over, broke her back in the movie, the same actress is coming back.
Wow, I never
the same
actress.
Yeah, pretty sure.
That's weird because they sort of did like a sequel to it on Fox. They did like the Exorcist TV show.
I heard that was pretty good too.
It was pretty good. The second season's actually better than the first because it's a different thing. It's not a sequel to the Reagan story, whereas the first season is. And the second season also has the benefit of having the remarkably handsome John Cho. So there you go.
John Cho's great.
He's awesome.
And I think they canceled it too, didn't they? They canceled like all the good stuff.
They really
Hannibal.
Did. Yeah, well, yeah.
Hannibal.
You know, I was glad Hannibal got to tell its story or whatever, and there was not a bad season of Hannibal, in my opinion. So I love it.
They did Red Dragon in it too, didn't they? Or they were trying to. Yeah.
No, they did. They fully did.
Because I don't think I finished it out. I think I watched the first 2 seasons, but I didn't finish season 3.
It's the guy who plays the Red Dragon is Thorin Oakenshield from The Hobbit.
Oh, okay, nice.
Yeah,
that's pretty cool. We'll ask 2 more.
Okay. I'm sorry, guys. I've been looking forward to this all day.
You got them all so far.
You're good, man.
Yeah.
In 28 days later, who is blamed for releasing the deadly virus?
It's the PETA people who let the monkeys out at the beginning.
Animal rights activists.
The monkeys out?
Yeah.
Who let the monkeys?
That movie's great. Stephen King rented out the entire theater so he could watch that by himself when it came out.
Actually, I really like that movie. Like their take, because I'm not a big zombie fan, but I guess they're kind of zombies, sort of not really. The fast zombies are awesome.
I like that movie a lot.
Kind of dead, but really not dead.
Yeah. I like how quick you turn to, like it drips in his eye and he just instantly starts to turn.
Yeah. And they talk. That's the big difference. Yeah. They can talk.
Well, so the final one. What is the odd thing about the videotape from The Ring?
What's the odd thing about it?
Yeah, other than if you watch it, it kills you. What's the odd thing?
That it kills you?
Yeah, what's about it's a VHS tape, so think
I was going to say it's beta. No.
What's the odd thing about the VHS tape?
They never rewind it.
Odd thing about the VHS tape in The Ring. Damn, I know. What's the odd thing? I don't know.
It says it doesn't use a time code. So I guess there's no time on there when they play it and fast forward and all that stuff.
Oh, that's kind of cool. That's a cool catch.
You mean on a screen?
Yeah. Well, you know how it would show the numbers or whatever? I guess there's no time code
but
on
I mean, when you would watch a VHS, it didn't have Like if you're watching a movie on VHS, it didn't have the time on the screen.
Just what it says, Jay. It's not my fault.
Weak, man. What a weak way! What a weak way to end the show, man.
Fine, we'll do one more, Jay. It's all your fault.
Wow.
What is the name of the camp in Sleepaway Camp?
I've only seen Sleepaway Camp once. I have no idea.
Oh, yeah? Jay, do you know?
No, but the movie's horrible. I hated the movie.
It was cheesy, but it was good cheesy. The guy when the soup or all the water splashes on him, he just screams all crazy. It's a Camp Arawak.
Oh, I knew that. I knew that.
Damn it! Yeah, that is it.
It's cheesy because it's such like a Friday the 13th ripoff, and it's good cheese, and it's not supposed to be good though.
If you want a really good Friday the 13th ripoff, watch The Burning.
The Burning.
Ooh, The Burning is so good. It has George Costanza in it.
Oh,
that makes you instantly want to watch it. Does he have hair back then? Is it old? Does he have hair or is he bald?
He has hair. He's young.
Does he have?
And
Okay.
he's great. Like all the people in the movie are great. So like it's like yes, it's a total ripoff of Friday the 13th, but like it's actually really good. It's a lot of Holly Hunter, I think, is in it. George Costanza, Holly Hunter, and there's an actor that I really love named Fisher Stevens. He's in it also. It's great. It's great.
I need to watch it. I love George Costanza from Seinfeld. Seinfeld's my favorite sitcom of all time. I love it.
Same. I'm basically him. Like it's really frustrating. Like the more I watch him, the more I realize, yep.
Channeling your inner George.
It's really bad. Like just I find, I literally did something the other day, and because I eat French fries, I don't touch them. I eat them in like the sleeve.
Yeah.
And I posted a thing. I was like, "How do you eat them? With your hands?" Like when George is cutting up the candy. So I don't know. I'm an idiot. I love it.
So I've never seen The Burning. I need to check it out.
I think
that sounds amazing.
Pretty sure it's on Shudder. It's great.
Is it on Shudder?
It's got really good makeup for the
Shudder's so deep. I'm so behind. If you think I'm so behind on my TBR, I'm so behind on my what I'm watching.
I'm so behind on horror movies. Like I haven't seen
TBW, TBW.
Yeah, YouTube watch list.
Yeah,
like any modern like horror movies, I'm so behind on. Like the big popular ones.
Yesterday.
What was the one you didn't like? You gave one a big thumbs down.
Eternals. Eternals is awesome.
Oh, that's right. I've heard. Yeah, it's not good.
So bad.
We started watching Black Widow because it's free now on Disney Plus, and we were kind of bored with it. And
I heard
we love the Marvel stuff. We're Marvel, not DC. And like I think we got 45 minutes into that. I'm like, this is sucky.
There's like no agency to it though, because it's like way ahead of everything, right? So you know what the outcome is, right?
Yeah.
Am I right? Is it a big prequel?
It's between Infinity 1 and Infinity 2. I'm not sure. I think it's after the snap.
But Eternal
before they came back, whatever.
Brutal. It's brutally bad. It's like the character disappears for the final fight, like he's just not there, and then he's in the after the fight stuff, and I'm like where did this guy go? Where was he? Literally shoots lasers. He pew pew pew, and it's like, why wouldn't you have him in the fight? What's happening in this movie? It sucks, and it's like 3 hours long.
Oh yeah,
it's
the
like
other one is free now on Disney too. The other the one before that, I can't think of the name of it.
Shang-Chi?
Yeah.
Ten Rings. That looks pretty
great.
cool.
Yeah, is that good? Okay.
Yeah, I don't like Marvel. I think Marvel's boring as hell. But Shang-Chi, fabulous movie.
I'll go see the Marvel movies, but I'm not like excited. Like I don't have to go see them, but I enjoy them when I watch them.
I mean, those are my wife loves them, and I like them.
That's
so we usually go, and those are ones we go to theaters to see. I mean, not in the last couple of years because of everything, but of course, yeah. I'm trying to get caught up on my Giallo from Shudder. They have a nice selection, and it's just been all excited with that. Sorry, that's what I'm watching lately. So.
The Giallo stuff that they have on Shudder is top notch. Like it's crazy. Yeah. I've literally watched Profondo Rosso like 4 times.
Yeah.
Like it's just so and I can't help it. It's just so damn good. But like I watched something on there yesterday. I watched Great White, which is a terrible shark movie. But it wasn't bad. It's not bad. It's it's fine. It's a shark movie. I'm in. What happened, Nikki? What did I do? What happened?
She's probably mad because you didn't like ginger snaps or something. I don't know.
Ginger snaps.
I love ginger snaps.
Jay gave that like -20.
I gave it like -20. That was horrible. I thought it was horrible.
I love ginger snaps.
Is it their ginger snaps too as well? Y'all need to.
There's probably a whole franchise of it.
There is 3.
There's 3. Jay, you need to watch the other 2 and see if they're better than the original.
Ginger snaps back.
Ginger snaps back.
What it's called?
Is that really?
I think it's what. Yeah,
that's brilliant.
on
Ginger
Tubi.
snaps back.
I bet she's on Tubi right now. I bet Tubi's got all of them.
Oh man, those are on Shudder, I think. The ginger snaps movies.
Probably. I don't know. I'm not paying for those.
It's because you don't like Marvel. I'm not a big Marvel. Like, I don't think they're a bad, but like Star Wars, I have to go see Star Wars movie. But at Marvel, I'm like, if I get spoiled, it's
Star Wars. Star Wars. Nobody wants
Captain
to see
Kirk.
Captain Kirk.
Wow. I don't know. I'm always. I have 2 DC tattoos, so like I'm a DC guy. But like Shang-Chi, I liked a lot.
Yeah,
it was great. I don't know.
Yeah. The new Batman film looks dope with Robert Pattinson.
God, yeah.
Jay hates him as an actor too.
Why?
I don't like him. I mean, it's going to be like an emo Batman. He's like,
it looks amazing.
Well, he looks like a guy who doesn't. He looks like a guy who doesn't sleep at night.
Yeah, because he's fighting all night long, getting beat up.
No, yeah. he's like, I'll go save you after I stop at Starbucks here, get my venti something. It's like, should I wear a sweater? What's the weather gonna be like, man? Hey.
But his Batman voice sounds really good. It's not it's not all the gravel. He just sounds like a normal person talking.
I think too, like he's the idea of a Batman who is out all night, kind of thing. It makes sense that he looks terrible, And,
yeah, he's got all the bags under his eyes, and
I think he looks terrible in other movies too. He just looks deformed to me, but I don't know. That's just me.
Wow, Jay. He was amazing in The Lighthouse. That movie's so bizarre, but
the Lighthouse was good.
Yeah.
Him and William Dafoe, I don't have any idea what was going on, but their acting was phenomenal. I could not understand William Dafoe at all. He did that thick accent.
I don't think there's one word in that movie I understood, but it was good. It was just the scenery. It was just nice.
Even though it's all black and white, it was beautifully shot and everything.
I watched a great A24 movie yesterday. It Comes at Night, or They Come at Night, or It Comes at Night. Something.
So like Netflix.
It is on Netflix.
Yeah.
And that was really great. I'm usually very hit or miss with the A24 stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Like I didn't like Hereditary, and I did not like Midsommar. But
I did not like them, but I wasn't like, yeah, this is great. It was like,
yeah. I think that I liked 70% of Hereditary.
Yeah.
And I liked 20% of Midsommar. It's like
Midsommar was an hour too long, and Hereditary was like the ending just fell off. The ending just died to me. So,
and I got a kick out of I love the Robert Eggers stuff though. So like The Witch, and I love Saint Maud. Oh my God, Saint Maud!
Saint Maud is great. Yeah,
that's like the best horror movie of last year, maybe.
Yeah. I think I got like a free preview of whatever Stars or whatever it was on just to watch that, like a free 7-day trial just to watch that.
It's so good, and I'll say this year the best. I think last year the best horror movie was Saint Maud. The year before that was for me Dogs Don't Wear Pants, and this year I think the best horror movie of this year is The Manor on Amazon Prime. It's free.
I haven't heard that. Go ahead. I really want to see. Go ahead, Jay.
Is that one of the new Blumhouse ones? The Manor is one of them. Is that Blumhouse that's doing that one?
Yeah, that's one of the Blumhouse the Blumhouse things. But I got to see that when I don't know how that happened, but like I got to see the Blumhouse stuff or whatever ahead of time. That was cool. That's probably one of the coolest things.
It's because you're famous, Rob, is why you got to see it early.
That's what it is. I think that's like one of the coolest things I've gotten to do. It's like get to see Blumhouse movies before they come out. But like it's really good. Everyone should watch it. I think the director, Axel Carolyn, really has like a grand slam on her hands.
Have either of you all seen Antlers yet?
Dude.
Is that streaming anywhere?
No,
that's not A24, is it? That's something different.
I don't think it's A24.
Because I know Del Toro's somehow involved. He produced it or something.
It's Scott Cooper. That director is insane, and I'm pretty sure. I don't know how true this is, but I think he's supposed to direct A Head Full of Ghosts, the adaptation of Paul Tremblay's Head Full of Ghosts.
Okay,
I think so. So, like, if that's the case, then perfect. Because
that might be a better movie than it is book. And I don't know if I'm in a minority by saying that, but I
haven't read the book.
The book got a little irritating to me, you know.
I read one Paul Tremblay and I didn't love it. It was Cabin at the End of the World. It was okay.
Wow,
I read that one too, and it was.
I did like. I don't want to say anything because I don't want to spoil it. But the thing he did, we'll say after the air, but I did not expect him to go where he did with a certain point. So that part I really enjoyed. It's probably really vague, point, and no one knows what I'm talking about.
No. That point, I'm kind of glad he did, or it would have been a total failure if he didn't. You know, it was almost like that was the payoff, but then the ending was kind of flat. So
I could tell you, Paul Tremblay is like one of the nicest dudes in horror. Like I needed some help with something, and I reached out to him, and he was like within an hour got back to me and like was very sweet and helpful. But I liked A Head Full of Ghosts. It's the only book of his that I've read. A24 or Blumhouse.
Yeah, I don't mind Blumhouse, and they get a lot of flack for I don't know why, but I've enjoyed everything I've watched from.
The new Halloween Kills. That's part Blumhouse.
Yeah, I hate it.
Except for that one, that was just horrible. That was just.
I truly think that is that's the worst one of all of them, and I'm like, I don't know, man. Social media is so bizarre to me.
I'm starting to sound like an old cranky guy because I'm saying all these movies are horrible.
Like Halloween Kills had such potential to be because I really like the.
Did it really? It's called Halloween. It's part of the franchise. We talk about potential.
I really liked Halloween 2, like the old one too. A lot of people don't like that one. Yeah, I really liked Halloween 2. Halloween 2, I 2018. I rewatched it before Halloween Kills. I really loved how it ended, and this one just like shit all over it.
I'll never understand how people can look at that movie either. And I've grown to like Halloween 2018, but like, how can somebody look at Halloween Kills and be like, man, that was a great Michael Myers Halloween movie?
No,
like that's a good Jason movie.
The kills were cool. The story, I did not like anything with what's the guy's name, Jay? I couldn't get his name right last time.
Anthony Michael Hall. Yeah.
Everything about his character I hated.
He was cringy.
All of those like Haddonfield people look like they're the type who do their own research when it comes to that.
The woman shooting herself after he kicked the door and hit the gun.
That was hilarious.
All of a sudden, Michael Myers is John Wick. That he can kick a door and she blows her head off. Like that. First of all, I met the lady.
I laughed out loud at that. That was hilarious.
So this is Haddonfield up here, signed by a bunch of people from the original Halloween, including the nurse who gets killed in that scene in Halloween Killed. And like, I remember thinking, like, why would you have her come back? And then you're just going to kill her in the car in an homage to the
same exact way.
Like, I don't understand.
That was the highlight of the movie. That's pretty bad.
Like, I like David Gordon Green a lot, but I've only liked two of his movies, and I've liked all of his stuff that he's produced and directed for TV because it's all that funny, like Kenny Powers type stuff. But like
Kenny Powers,
that's like literally what he did. He did Eastbound and Down.
Oh, so is that why that's why that guy's part producer then? I guess.
Yeah.
I can't think of his name. Danny McBride.
Yeah. And like, I don't understand like when he does interviews and stuff, he talks about Halloween in such a hallowed way, like that and he's so respectful of it.
Mm-hmm.
But then to see what he did with it in 2018 in Halloween Kills, and now it's like, I'm not going to see his Exorcist. That's not going to happen because like, what's he going to do? He's going to have Reagan like rip her own face off and go crazy and kill 35 people. Like, I'm good, man.
The ending scene where it's almost like a music video where it's like slow motion and like it's all black in the background and he's killing people. It's like, what is going on here?
A screenwriter I really, really admire broke that scene down and he came to the conclusion. He was like, this scene makes absolutely no sense.
It literally looked like a music video.
He's like, it makes no sense. He's like, how does he go from here to here and then into there? And like, dude, they even use like a metal song over the credits. too. It's like that Hunter's Moon song, which gets stuck in my head, and I'm like, why the fuck? This is awful.
Yeah.
And I just don't understand the reaction from Twitter and Instagram people being like, oh my God, it's the best movie of the year. Like that and Malignant. It's like, did IQ drop 800% this year?
Malignant. I'll say Malignant.
I posted
Malignant
on Twitter.
Could have been. I think Malignant had horrible. The trailer did that movie no justice.
Exactly.
Like the trailer
I
made
put
it seem like
on Twitter,
a super serious movie.
I put on Twitter, Malignant was the worst horror movie of the year, and that's before I saw Halloween Kills. So I got some flack for that because people were like, "What? No, it's a masterpiece." I'm like,
"No, you're totally correct."
No,
like if the trailer would have made Malignant to be out like an Evil Dead movie, I totally would have been on board, knowing it going in.
It wasn't horror. It wasn't horror at all. It was
like Evil Dead mixed with the Matrix. Like
the argument that people were making, like, oh, he's trying to make a kitschy movie and stuff. It's like, would James Wan, a guy who just made a monster hit with Aquaman, would he purposefully go out and make a piece of shit like that? Think for a second. Yeah. He's not Tommy Wiseau. He's not going to.
Acting was awful.
It was like it was a slasher, thriller, mystery,
superhero movie. That was a superhero
movie. Sci-fi, ninja.
My wife called it in the first 5 minutes. She was like, "Oh my God, that's what this is," and I was like, "Stop it! Don't! That's silly."
We figured out before the halfway mark. We figured out what the big twist was.
I didn't catch the twist till it happened, so I thought the twist was pretty cool. I thought it was my favorite part of the movie.
Yeah, we were like,
yeah, the twist wasn't bad, but like
the acting was so bad, and the weird musical cues that were just like so out of left field. Like it was just like
that was,
but like, it's almost comedic moment, and they would hit this like really dramatic music. It was like, what is it? Just felt off.
The first time they showed her like bent backwards.
Yeah,
that's when we were like, both my wife and I was like, you know what? Here's what's happening. And then we had to watch it to make sure we were right. We were right. It was just.
I feel bad, like making fun of these two movies because I know how much everybody loved them. I know, but like you don't want to make people upset or feel like.
No, people were getting on me saying, "No, this is a masterpiece," and blah blah blah. And I was like, "What?"
There's a writer I really admire and respect, and he and I had a disagreement about Malignant, and I was like, I still love what this guy does, so like I haven't lost any respect for him or anything, but like I just don't see how anybody could look at Halloween Kills and think that that's like a good follow up or whatever. No. I don't know. I don't get it, but like the crazy thing is like Blumhouse has the Manor, which is superior to Halloween Kills and Malignant in every way. Every way. It's just so good. And it must have cost them a quarter what Halloween Kills cost them to make. So it's like, you're back in the wrong horse.
I like the whole thing when Blumhouse started putting those. Was it last year where they started putting them on Amazon Prime? They did like 3 or 4 last year. What was the one with the sheet music?
Oh yeah,
that was great. Yeah. I enjoyed
Nocturne.
That. Yeah, Nocturne. Yeah, I thought that was great. Like,
and they did movies for Hulu also. That
did they?
Dude,
yeah, they had Hulu movies for a while.
The one on there, Pure, is insane. That movie is so good. It's like the movie I was hoping Midsommar would be.
Mm.
It's unbelievable.
So this is kind of folk horror then.
Mm-hmm.
Nice.
This thing was Midsommar. Like I like folk horror, but this was like an hour too long, and
it's like 3 hours long because I haven't seen it yet. And every time I'm like, oh yeah, let's watch it. I scroll through there. It's like 3.5 hours. Like, nah, maybe tomorrow I'll fall asleep.
It's like a tale of two movies too. Like the beginning is different than the middle part, and it's just like.
I interpret that movie very different than a lot of people do, and I've heard the director talk about it, and how I interpret it and how he interprets it seem a little more in line than how everybody else does. Even my wife was like, yeah, it was this, and I was like,
was it now?
Yeah. Like, all right. I'm glad you appreciated it and watched it, but all right.
Well, holy cow, we could probably do this all night. We just totally went off on
I know. I'm sorry.
Movie
guys.
tangent. No,
we need to have a special episode just where we talk about movies the whole time.
I know. Maybe that could be our Christmas special, and we have friends on. Yeah,
we'll have Rob come back.
So that's going to do it. This has been a pretty action-packed, full episode. We went all over the place. Didn't we? We talked teaching and books and HWA and all sorts. And then we got in these movies. So awesome show. For our special guest this evening, Robert P. Ottone. Thank you so much for hanging out with us. Totally appreciate it.
Where can everybody find you, Rob?
Yes.
You can find me on the Instagram and on the Twitters at Robert Ottone, ROBERTOTTONE. And you can check out SpookyHousePress.com.
Nice.
Just don't look out your window. He's there. Anyways, I was going to do it, guys. Everyone in the chat, we appreciate you stopping by as always. What's next?
For me?
Who's next week?
For us, we have a guy. Robert, we're done with you.
All right, thanks, guys.
No,
I'm totally like I have his face in my head, but I'm totally blanking on his name. Robert, no, is it?
Dude,
Ronald. There we go.
Ronald Kelly.
Ronald Kelly.
Oh, cool. That's cool. Nice.
So again, everyone, we appreciate you stopping by. For my partner in crime right there, Brad. Special guest tonight, Robert. Till we meet again, guys. Stay safe. See ya.
Thanks for coming by, Juan.
Thanks for having
me.
me.
Love you, Jay. Thanks for coming on, Rob. Love you, Jay.
Love Brad.
Yes.